not really good for you. I mean,
Right.
like, it might provide something important for your body, but I think there's actually like quite a bit of overlap between this book and How Not to Die by Michael Grieger, because she's saying, like, eat really low in the food chain. Don't take antioxidant supplements. Don't take these other supplements. They're not going to do you any good. You need to get these nutrients from raw foods.
Right.
You're 6 minutes away from a live episode of Free Talk Live. Listen live at freetalklive.com.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with the SNLS Network and listeners like you. Online at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,698, silver at $17.93, and Bitcoin is trading around $9,720. Today's gold, silver, and Bitcoin prices are brought to you by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven. The Liberty Beat and Brave Botanicals believe so strongly in the power of kratom, we're giving it away for free. Just go to libertybeat.news/free kratom. This is the Liberty Beat at snlsnetwork.com. In the news, a man was arrested late Sunday after reportedly ramming his car into a group of protesters in the Seattle Police Department's East Precinct on Capitol Hill and drawing his weapon on the crowd. As nationwide protests continued for a second weekend after George Floyd was killed on May 25th during a brutal arrest by the Minneapolis Police Department, events have taken a far more peaceful turn, with state National Guard members being demobilized and incidents of riots and violent confrontations tapering off. However, protesters gathered to demand systemic change outside Seattle's East Precinct were shocked after an unidentified male assailant drove his car into a group of protesters at 11th and Pine before brandishing his weapon at the crowd and shooting somebody at around 8:30 Sunday night before fleeing the scene. In video of the incident shared to social media, the man could be seen driving into the crowd. As protesters swarmed the car and began to hit it after the apparent attempt to ram his vehicle into protesters, the man fires his gun out of the window. Ever wonder where we find all the news to report right here on the Liberty Beat? Visit snls.news to get the world's most censored media published all in one place. Save yourself from the endless time spent searching for reliable alternative media. SNLS News makes it quick and easy. No ads, no clickbait, just raw headlines, 24 hours a day. Visit snls.news and get informed today without the corporate media spin. Your news now continues. On Sunday, 9 members of the Minneapolis City Council proclaimed their support for disbanding the Minneapolis Police Department at a rally. Around the same time, Minneapolis cops were proving to the public exactly why they need to be disbanded by conducting drive-by pepper sprays on entirely peaceful protesters. The Free Thought Project reports that City Council President Lisa Bender minced no words on Sunday when she said, quote, "Our commitment is to end our toxic relationship with MPD and to end policing as we know it, to recreate systems of public safety that actually keep us safe," end quote. In the past several weeks, the Austin, Texas Police Department has been captured on video murdering an unarmed man, shooting a child in the head with a rubber bullet, shooting an innocent student in the head with a projectile, and firing on the citizens attempting to render aid to that student. The Free Thought Project reports the acts of police violence have all gone unpunished. Tensions, as one might expect right now, are high between the community and their police force. According to the Austin Police Department, however, there has been an outpouring of support in the form of thank you cards. But the Twitterverse has found something smells fishy. A black and white officer were conveniently chosen to be photographed reading from a pile of thank you cards. But when their Twitter followers looked at the picture closely, they began to spot something strange. Most of the cards in the photo had the same handwriting. The Austin Police Department released a statement to Gizmodo about why the cards had the same handwriting, saying that 2 people who organized delivering the cards in person addressed the envelopes themselves with a thank you, meaning the handwriting was the same. The photos of the thank you cards came only days after APD shot a child in the head with a rubber bullet. Support for the Liberty Beat is brought to you by the Homestead Guru. The Homestead Guru is an educational website offering tips, tools, news, stories, and commentary on everything homesteading. Topics include green homes, gardening, animal husbandry, do-it-yourself, home remedies, alternative energy, survivalism, unschooling, and more. Those details are found online at thehomestead.guru. This is the Liberty Beat, powered by the SNLS Network at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
A new video game is being criticized for its harsh portrayal of barbed wire. Here's GameBite's Caitlin Torres with more.
Bethesda's The Evil Within is a nightmarish adventure that shows bloody and rusty barbed wire being used to hurt innocent people, which has angered the nation's barbed wire producers.
Barbed wire is a positive force for good. It protects our junkyards from scrap metal thieves and helps keep our cattle ranches safe from rustlers. But Bethesda thinks it's okay to ignore all the benefits of barbed wire and make it look like some scary thing used by murderers.
The designers have promised that the game will feature prominent messages extolling the virtues of the sharp steel fencing. But barbed wire groups say that it's too little too late.
If Bethesda wants to make this right, they should have the main character go behind a fence and then be safe from monsters because they can't climb over the barbed wire to get him. Now that's a game I would play.
Let's hope Bethesda listens.
Thanks, Caitlin.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Yes, it's free dance music live. We were about to have a party up in here.
Yeah, you didn't check the board.
I did check the board, but I
should have been pounding the whole time.
I missed one button out of the 300 buttons that are over here. I didn't actually ever look at that particular channel. That's the first time that channel's ever come into play when I've been piloting this program anyway. So anyway,
expect the unexpected.
That is really the theme of this show. Expect the unexpected. Lower your expectations. That way you'll be disappointed less. This is Free Talk Live. In case you were wondering, you are in the right place for the live Monday night edition. Our toll-free number, of course, is 855-450-3733 or 855-450-FREE, as in freedom. And you can call in, talk about whatever you'd like to talk about. With you in the studio tonight, it is myself, the Reverend Captain Kickass.
Hey, I'm Ian.
And the nobody formerly known as Rich Paul.
And we are going to talk about all sorts of stuff. I wanted to talk first tonight about an article that has popped up from a bunch of different sources. This one happens to be from decrypt.co about Coinbase. For those of you who are into cryptocurrency, you'll know that Coinbase was really one of the first agencies that allowed you to purchase Bitcoin with either a bank account through ACH or through the use of debit and credit cards, that kind of a thing.
They're kind of like the big bank of Bitcoin.
They are, really.
And they're that bad, too, as you might imagine.
They have a lot of the characteristics of a big bad bank. And it's gotten worse for them, in my opinion, with this article's headline. Coinbase wants to identify Bitcoin users for the DEA and IRS. In other words, they're going to market a thing. What they want to do is they want to sell its blockchain analytics software to these two federal agencies to assist them in identifying these Bitcoin users.
Wow. See, I thought Facebook was bad trying to, sell my information to people who want to sell me stuff.
Right.
These Coinbase now wants to sell my information to people who want to kill me or ruin my life.
Yeah.
As a early adopter of some Bitcoin technologies, I did get a Coinbase account.
I had one too.
And I
did.
I used it early on, and they required no KYC or know your customer.
This must have been way early on.
It was way early on, and I was able to buy and sell Bitcoin to and from with, almost no restriction. I was dealing in very small amounts, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So they have levels, right? It's like you got to level up in a video game. Coinbase has levels, and I never reached any level that they were really ever concerned with me, that kind of a thing. But I never had to provide any sort of identifiable information until one day I went to cash out a minimal amount, I don't know, $25, $50, something like that. I needed some extra cash. I'm like, oh, I'll just cash in some Bitcoin. It'll carry me through to my next payday, that kind of a thing. And they were like, oh, before you can proceed, you must upload photo identification, et cetera, and so on, and fill out all this KYC crap.
They never actually give you some advance warnings, so it's it's not an inconvenience. It's like, oh, okay, I had things I was planning on doing today, and they've just changed my plan.
And if I recall correctly, they did it at the worst possible point of the transaction. Right. So I was in there in the website. I was navigating through. I was like, how much do you want to cash out? I want to cash out $50, whatever it was. Okay, and where do you want it to go? I wanted to go to this bank account, and they're like, okay, and then right as
a bank account you already had connected to the system.
Yes, and right as I hit the go ahead and confirm, do the thing, then it pops up with the oh hey, by the way, before you can proceed, instead of at the beginning of the transaction to warn me that hey, go get your wallet or whatever, right? So
like you said, that was way back in the day, and now they will put you through the know your customer process right in the very beginning of when you create the account.
Right. Well, and it's like you were saying Facebook, and just to reiterate your point, Facebook still does not require ID to open a Facebook account.
No.
Well, they have asked people for ID.
Yes, they've asked me for ID,
right.
and I eventually gave them some ID.
It took them quite a while to believe that my legal name was nobody.
I had to basically troll all of their executives repeatedly in order for them to turn my Facebook account back on when they shut it off. So I've been through that story before. We won't cover that again.
You mean troll directly?
So I just figured out what their email addressing system was. Like first.last@domain.com, for example.
That's a bad plan.
And so then I went and I found, because publicly they have to display all of their officers.
Sure.
Right? And so I just go, Bob Smith, Jane Doe, et cetera, and so on. And I composed an email and I BCC'd everybody. I didn't send it to anybody. I BCC'd everybody. And, just basically laid out my case. Hey, I've had this name since before the internet. Here's some proof, here's some ID that is generally recognizable by government entities, like my Reverend certificate for Reverend Captain Kickass of the Church of Spiritual Humanism, some work that I did. I had a press pass for Captain Kickass. I had some backstage passes from some shows that I managed doing the music thing and that kind of stuff, and I submitted all of that to them. Which, of course, they didn't recognize as regular ID until after I went on this sort of, campaign. I wouldn't say trolling, but I emailed all of them repeatedly. I created Facebook accounts in their names and then messaged them with their name and pointed out that not only are you, creating a thing where when you turn off people's accounts, people think they've died or can't get a hold of them for whatever reason, but also that they don't require any ID to open an account, and anybody can open an account even with their names. And also I pointed out the fact that there was something like 725 people named Richard Cranium on their platform, which, of course, if you translate that as dickhead, right? And so eventually they got tired of me emailing them all the time, and miraculously my account just got turned back on. Ironically, I'll knock on some wood, even though I'm not superstitious or religious, but I've never been banned from Facebook since then for anything I've posted.
So you don't know which of the executives pushed it through, but it got pushed through?
Don't know. One day it just turned back on, because I would go and I'd log into it every day and then prepare my next message for everybody. And one day I didn't have to send it because it was just on again.
Yeah, I mean, it's a valid strategy to assume that if you continue climbing an organization, you will eventually find somebody whose time is worth more than your money. And they would rather give you your money back or give you what it is that you want than have you continue to waste their time.
Exactly. So back to the
I'm going to have to start trying that with those crooks at the banks.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Can I speak to your McManager? Back to the Coinbase thing, though. In brief, Coinbase aims to sell blockchain analytics services to the DEA and the IRS, according to public documents. The San Francisco firm stands to make as much as $250,000 from the DEA for its, quote, identity attribution, unquote, software.
That's it? $250,000. I mean, for a company like Coinbase,
I imagine that this is a subscription
license.
I imagine
per month.
Yeah, I imagine this is a subscription-based model.
I mean, that was like a year of my salary when I was programming. So, and they've got many programmers working on this thing, I'm sure. So.
$250,000. If it's one time, that's chump change.
It doesn't say what it is, and I imagine as a software company that this is a subscription-based model.
Yeah, it's
which
probably
means it's a
per
MRC
seat.
monthly recurring charge. So that's probably $250,000 per month.
Still, that's not a whole lot of money for Coinbase.
But now you multiply that by the DEA, the IRS, and then any other alphabet agency from any other government around the globe where Facebook has a presence, all of a sudden, that's big money per month.
If that's what it is per month. We don't know that.
Yeah.
Coinbase has faced criticism in the past for its association with controversial surveillance tech company Hacking Team, which they purchased, by the way. Cryptocurrency exchange Coinbase is looking to license its blockchain software to 2 U.S. government agencies. According to public records, the Drug Enforcement Administration and the Internal Revenue Service are planning to buy licenses from Coinbase for a cloud-based software called Coinbase Analytics, according to the prospective DEA contracts.
So in other words, just to sum it up, Coinbase is the enemy of peace and freedom, and you should not be doing business with them, and you certainly shouldn't be giving them any money.
I agree with you, and that is
advice.
my opinion. Feel free to look into it yourselves. What do you think? Would you rather do business with somebody on the up and up or somebody who's giving your information to the DEA and the IRS? More coming up.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
This COVID-19 thing has turned the world upside down. Regardless of what you believe about it, it has changed our lives. But what's not changed is that if you own a business, you need to advertise to reach new customers or clients. Our audience is not the kind to stick their heads in the sand during a crisis. They are fully engaged and more active than ever. Special advertising packages are available to you to help you not just recover, but thrive. Email my sales manager, Matthew at freetalklive.com.
Got shaving irritation? Shave Secret shaving oil can help stop it. Shave Secret doesn't cost much and is an all-American product. My name is Chuck Howard, and I developed Shave Secret and pioneered its use starting back in 1991. Ingrown hairs drove me nuts for years. Shaving oil changed all that. Why put up with ingrown hair, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts? Shave Secret provides men and women with what we believe is the best shave ever. Our proprietary blend of 100% natural base and essential oils, plus a hint of menthol, was designed to help eliminate shaving irritations like ingrown hairs, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts. We'll lose those shaving irritations. Available at Super Walmart, H-E-B, Wegmans, Giant Eagle, Discount Drug, Navy and Marine Exchanges, Amazon, and ShaveSecret.com. Use the code FTL for Free Talk Live and get a discount. Shave Secret, the best shave ever.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
Who told you can go this way?
You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me.
Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, Hey.
Who do you think you are?
Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait a minute.
Holy crap.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me?
Because you scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you get the rewards. Download the AnyPay Cash Register app and add your cryptocurrency wallet addresses. Then install it at a real-life business and tell us what you did at anypayinc.com. anypayinc.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Welcome back, everybody. It is Free Talk Live. You are in the right place for the live Monday night edition of this fantastic radio program where you can call in and talk about whatever you want. You can take control of the airwaves. You can bring up any subject. We often do some show prep and kick the show off with subjects and articles and things of that nature, stuff that's happening in the world, and we'll continue to do that. With you tonight, it's
Ian.
And nobody.
And I am the Reverend Captain Kickass. I'll be your host this evening. And we've been talking a little bit about this entity called Coinbase. They are one of the, I guess, the earliest exchange in the U.S. No?
They're one of them.
One of them. They were the first, I believe, to allow you to purchase Bitcoin with a bank account and
That's certainly
or
what they were known
card
for.
That was their calling card. And we'll talk more about that. But first, I wanted to tell you...
What did the other exchanges do before that, before you could use a bank account and a credit card? How did they get their money?
I have no idea. I would imagine wire transfer.
I believe it was also interpersonal transactions. So if you wanted to,
of course, there still are.
If you had some and somebody else wanted some, they could, hey man, I got some cash. Will you sell me some? You're like, sure.
Speaking of which, if you were thinking of selling some coin to Coinbase, sell it to me because we got a shortage in Keene.
Yeah, if you're looking to buy, nobody is selling. Wait. Nobody's selling. Okay. Speaking of Bitcoin, I wanted to tell you that Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or just meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. That's local.bitcoin.com. Continuing on, according to public records, the Drug Enforcement Administration and the Internal Revenue Service are planning to buy licenses from Coinbase for a cloud-based software called Coinbase Analytics. According to the prospective DEA contract, Coinbase's software will provide identity attribution for crypto addresses both domestically and internationally. So, yeah, they're going to identify folks not just in the U.S., but outside of the U.S. as well, or at least attempt to provide data that may lead these alphabet agencies to individuals. The public documents were issued on May 18th and April 7th, respectively. Industry publication The Block was the first to report the news. Coinbase would not comment directly on the federal contracts. Duh. However, a spokesperson for the San Francisco-based company told Decrypt that the firm offers its Coinbase Analytics product to financial institutions and law enforcement agencies to support compliance and investigation purposes.
Well, that's what Coinbase does. I've told the story plenty of times on the air about how at the very first Bitcoin conference that Free Talk Live ever went to, it was out in like San Jose or something like that. there was one of those fancy, if you ever been to a hotel conference before, they throw the little soiree where there's the open bar if you're at a really, expensive conference or whatever, or somebody's got some money and they want to sponsor, right? So they had an open bar, and it was sponsored by Coinbase and TradeHill. And TradeHill, I believe, has since gone out of business. But there was one point at which the Coinbase CEO, who's the same guy still, so if you look him up, you can find him, and the CEO of TradeHill were standing there talking to an attorney. And I had been talking to the attorney previous to that. Just you're just mingling, right, in one of these things. And I sat there and listened as they talked about creating what they described as like a white hat society, where they would team up with all the other obedient companies to show the government just how obedient that they are, because they want to have, to curry favor with the regulators. And the idea was that they were going to prohibit. The idea was they're going to prohibit any Bitcoin that went through the Silk Road from being used ever again at any of these white hat companies.
Well, not just that, but if you're super lawyered up, if you've got a lot of lawyers, then every regulation they pass becomes a competitive advantage for you, because the little guy gets forced out of the market and you have these scumbags left to deal with and nobody else.
The story you're telling, Ian, sounds like kind of what it might be like if businesses got together and said, we're not going to take any cash if it has traces of cocaine on it.
Yeah, it was kind of like...
Because that's like most cash does. If our listeners do not know, most U.S. dollars of almost any variety have traces of, all sorts of things, including cocaine and other things. Fecal matter has been found on them. All sorts of fun stuff. So when they say cash is dirty, they are making an accurate statement.
That's true.
Well, of course, the thing that gives the dollar its value is also taxation, so it's blood money as well.
Well, yeah, it's the full faith and force of the United States government is what gives it its value. We know it's not based in anything of real value.
But yeah, in case you needed any more evidence that Coinbase was bad news, now you've got them directly working with the IRS and the DEA to help them with their investigation.
Coinbase confirmed that it
No warrant needed.
developed this Coinbase analytics software with technology from Neutrino, which is a blockchain analysis company that it bought last year. So it went out and found this company that was doing all sorts of blockchain analysis, said, oh, you guys are cool. If we buy you, we can integrate this thing into this new product that we can market to governments. And so now governments are Coinbase's target customer.
I wonder if it's occurred to them that it might not be good public relations to be like publicly saying, we're going to try and harm our customers as much as we can.
Yeah, if only more people thought like we did, nobody, because there's a certain group that these kinds of companies are pandering to. And Coinbase, they're not the only one. Gemini is another one that was owned by, or is owned by, the Winklevoss twins, who are sort of noteworthy, I guess, in the Facebook history, apparently. And these characters are based in New York, and both Gemini and Coinbase have passed what they call the New York Bit License. So they have jumped through all the arbitrary hoops that the New York bureaucrats put up for crypto companies to do, which costs at least $100,000 from what I understand. You got to have attorneys and jump through all kinds of just insane hoops to do that. And Gemini was buying advertisements, I think like a couple years ago in Manhattan, like tops of taxi cabs, bus stops, sides of buses, all these advertisements to brag about how compliant they are. And I think that the tagline that they used in the ad was "Crypto needs rules."
Oh boy. No, I remember seeing one of those ads too.
Yeah, I got a rule. I don't deal with them.
I mean, crypto has rules by nature of the product. It has rules in and of itself.
Computer program. It's native.
So it can't. In fact,
but that's not what they were referring to.
One could say it is nothing but a series of rules. As a matter of fact,
that's true.
It's just mathematics applied in a way that solves the problem of trust in between three parties, so that you don't have to rely on a centralized organization for your monetary denomination needs. What do you think? Would you like to have a decentralized, anonymous organization that you can deal with? I sure would. 855-450-FREE. More coming up.
The next generation wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to send, earn, spend, and exchange digital money in seconds. Send money around the globe with only a swipe. Instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat right in the mobile app and withdraw directly to your bank account. Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with crypto. Multi-tiered masternodes allow everyone to partake in the network. Visit DivvyProject.org. DivvyProject.org.
Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you receive the rewards. Download the AnyPay Cash Register app and add your cryptocurrency wallet addresses. Then install it at a real-life business and tell us what you did at AnyPayInc.com. AnyPayInc.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
My name is Jacob Hornberger. I'm president of the Future of Freedom Foundation, which Congressman Ron Paul awarded for having an outstanding freedom website. Write us at fff@fff.org, and we'll send you a free 3-month subscription to our monthly journal of libertarian essays and our booklet, Economic Liberty in the Constitution, which George Mason University economics professor Walter Williams praised in a recent column. That's fff@fff.org.
What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
Yeah, indeed, yeah. Just like the guy on the microphone said in the song that you just heard just now, yeah. Ha ha. We are here live on Monday. This is Free Talk Live. You're in the right place for the live Monday night edition. With you in the studio tonight, it's myself, the captain.
It's Ian.
And nobody.
And before we move on from talking about things related to cryptocurrency, I wanted to tell you about Intercoin. Communities issue their own currency backed by Intercoin. They can choose to inflate the circulating supply of their own money to spend on internal projects, or they can choose to tax certain transactions and remove money from circulation. These activities deterministically deterministically. There we go.
Yeah.
There you go.
A thing is
50 cent word of the day.
deterministic if you know what it's going to do.
And so it changes the exchange rate of the community's local money to Intercoin without affecting the other communities or the rest of the Intercoin ecosystem. That's pretty neat. Each community can choose its own policies and openly program them into their coins. Each individual can choose what coins to get and how to spend them with upfront knowledge of what they're getting into. Intercoin is attempting to regain some of our freedoms that are threatened on the internet and in meat space. We think that this is important here on Free Talk Live, so important that FTL has accepted $40,000 worth of Intercoin tokens from Intercoin Inc. in exchange for advertising. If you also think freedom is important, check out Intercoin at intercoin.org. You can invest in this project and potentially make big gains, or just be involved and perhaps shape its future. That's intercoin.org. So, in the last segment, we talked a bit about Coinbase and some Bitcoin-related things, some Facebook stuff, but let's take a journey back in time.
To where?
To yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Last night's show was titled something, and it's a story that I guess you guys got a bunch of calls and that kind of a thing, and so you weren't able to really get to this story. So let's cover it now, shall we?
Yeah, it's about that barber that we've discussed in Michigan. He's based in a town called Owasso. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. But his name is Carl Mankey, Carl with a K, M-A-N-K-E, and he's 77 years old, and he's been in the headlines over the last couple of months during this whole COVID crackdown nonsense. And his case, because the government, of course, targeted him because he opened up his barbershop during the orders to not open up.
How dare he try and, commit commerce when the government says you can't.
To help his customers get what they wanted him to do to him, which is, cut their hair. He was targeted by the government there, and they brought him into court. And ultimately, a court of appeals, or at some point a court of appeals, had ordered him to shut down. You got to close up shop. You're in trouble, mister.
We can't have just anybody cutting hair around here.
So it went to the Michigan Supreme Court. The story here from mlive.com. A Friday, June 5th order by the Michigan State Court ruled to vacate the Court of Appeals decision that ordered a lower court judge to issue a preliminary injunction to shut down Mankey's shop. The case has been since remanded to the Court of Appeals for additional consideration. So his case isn't over yet. It's now going back to the Court of Appeals after he had won at the Supreme Court.
Wait, so if a court orders another court to do something and the court doesn't do the thing the other court ordered them to do, who enforces that?
You'd have to appeal back up, I think, to the Supreme Court at that point.
Okay.
The issue came to a boil between Mankey and the State Department of Health and Human Services after the 77-year-old reopened his shop on May 4th in face of executive orders from Gretchen Whitmer, that's the governor there, that ordered barbershops and salons to close over COVID-19 concerns.
Wasn't Gretchen the Wicked Witch of the West, or was that the East? I don't remember.
I don't know, but people have been calling her a wicked witch, I believe.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Gretchen is like a Karen on steroids.
In the order, Justice David Viviano states in part, quote, "It's incumbent on the courts to ensure decisions are made according to the rule of law, not hysteria." They said further, quote, "In addition to entering an order whose validity is highly suspect, the Court of Appeals majority took the extraordinary step of directing the trial court to take immediate action despite the fact that an application for leave had already been filed in our court." That is according to the Supreme Court Justice there. David Kallman, who's Mankey's attorney, said they're ecstatic about the order, saying, quote, "We feel our legal arguments have been vindicated by the court's ruling." He said this has a big impact on the hearing that was set for next Thursday. The State Attorney General's office had filed a motion this week to find Mankey in contempt of court after he continued to cut hair following the Court of Appeals ruling. The attorney said that is how vindictive they are against Carl. So just to recap here, the Court of Appeals said, shut this guy down. This needs to stop. And the old man ignored that crap, and he kept on going.
I love this guy.
He kept on cutting hair. And then he got a 7-0 decision by the Supreme Court. The motion asks for thousands of dollars a day in fines for every day to be assessed against Hankey if he continues to operate. The order also calls the granting of a preliminary injunction without a unanimous decision inexplicable. Per Common, the argument is whether the executive order carried any weight after the state legislature did not extend the state of emergency at the end of April. So that was the argument that the defense attorney was making, basically saying essentially the argument is the governor had the ability legally, supposedly, to create the state of emergency. The attorney is arguing that the governor's extension of the state of emergency wasn't valid because the legislature was supposed to extend it. So meaning the governor can put this thing in place, I guess, and then the legislature has to
kick the can down the road.
Say, okay, we agree with this. Let's keep this going. That's my understanding of this. I could be wrong. So if you're in Michigan and I'm getting this wrong, please give us a call and let us know about this. Common, who again is the defense attorney, says, quote, "The issue is why are people being treated unequally under the order of law?" He says. Regarding of other businesses being allowed to open.
I can't imagine being 77 years old, having developed my skills at a certain trade, owning my own business, presumably. Right? I presume he's a business owner, right? His own barber shop, right? And then one day being told by the government, you can't do this anymore. Now, I play music and stuff. I still do kind of a little bit. And I can't imagine, like, being forced by government to no longer play music.
Which is what they did, basically. They told you can't play music for people.
Well, right. You can't go do gigs. And like all art and performance art has been shut down, obviously. But, I mean, in this guy's case, this is his livelihood, his skill, his craft. This could be comparable to welding, carpentry, plumbing, right? This is a useful thing that people deem as, I mean, I can't believe that haircuts aren't deemed... What's the word the government uses?
Essential.
Essential, yes, thank you. I find that difficult to believe.
All arbitrary.
And I can't believe, I mean, I applaud this guy so much. Thank you for your service, Mr. Hankey.
He's still moving forward because the case is still in play. The order has told the Court of Appeals that they should address whether the motion for a preliminary injunction is rendered moot now that the governor has ordered that barbershops can be open statewide in June. And this part of the problem here is... There were 2 months, at least, and arguably longer than that, where business owners were told, you can't make money, you can't do anything.
Right.
And then they let them open up a little bit. You can open up here, you can open up there, you have to have all these restrictions.
That's the Reagan trickle-down theory of economics, right? You can have a little trickle.
I don't know if that's what it was.
No, I'm making a joke.
Right.
But yeah.
And so they argued...
There has never been anything called a trickle-down theory in economics. That's not a theory.
So what I was saying, though, was that they, told businesses you can't be open at all. Then they kind of let them back out a little bit. And now, according to the governor, barbershops can now reopen statewide on June 15th. So now that the court process has begun on this and the regulations are coming undone on this, now the court can just be like, oh, well, we don't have to rule on this now because, everything's fine. And so you don't get an actual real spanking for the government from the government in this case, which of course you shouldn't expect anyway.
Right,
but
just the threat of it.
There isn't even a best case scenario at this point. They're just going to walk away from it, it looks like.
Well, the best case scenario is they pull a Black Lives Matter deal and go and burn down their building.
If you know Mr. Hankey, please give him our toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. We'd love to talk to him.
Are you afraid to go to the mailbox because of letter after letter from the IRS? Are they stacking on more and more penalties and interest? By now, you know the problem won't go away on its own. Don't let the IRS chase you to your grave with penalties and interest and liens and levies. You need real help now. I'm Dan Pilla. I wrote the book on tax debt settlement, and I help thousands of people solve tax problems they thought couldn't be solved. I can help you too. Call 800-34-NO-TAX or go to my website, danpilla.com. That's danpilla.com. danpilla.com.
You know what's really smart?
Wash your hands frequently, practice social distancing, and stay home if told to do so.
You know what's really dumb?
To ignore your immune system.
Right now, more than ever, your health depends on a strong immune system.
The experts at Immunicorp will give you their 7-step guide to immunity for life, for free.
Why? Because we want you to be smart and healthy.
Simply call 800-446-3063 or click immunityforlife.com.
Immunocorp has been producing the world's leading immune system products for more than 2 decades.
To get your free 7-step guide to immunity for life, call 800-446-3063. 800-446-3063.
Be smart. Don't ignore your immune system. Your life depends on it.
Call 800-446-3063 or click immunityforlife.com. Immunityforlife.com.
Houseflies defecate every 4 to 5 minutes, spreading diseases and germs. Protect your food and your health with Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic, no batteries required. Only $39.95. Use discount code GCN and get an extra 10% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Fire your fly swatter. Get your Bug Assault today.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
It's free. That means it doesn't cost you anything. It's talk. This is what happens when you make sounds that come out of your mouth that turn into words. And it's live, which means it's happening now, in real time. This is Free Talk Live. With you in the studio tonight, it's
Ian.
And nobody.
And I am your host, the Reverend Captain Kickass. We've been talking about Mr. Hankey. I just had an idea during the break about a promo video for this guy. It's the song My Baby Does the Hanky Panky, except we changed it to the Manky Panky. And it's just video of him cutting people's hair, right, over and over again. And then with, like, the police footage where they, like, arrest him interspersed with all of that. I think that would be a good idea. We were talking about Mr. Hankey and his fight to cut hair. in the great state of Michigan during the, quote, lockdown, unquote. And Ian, you said you had another thought or something from the story that you wanted to get out.
Yeah, for listeners just tuning in, he did have a pretty big victory, 7-0 at the. I mean, 7-0 is a pretty big victory.
Defining, yeah.
At the Michigan Supreme Court, where they overturned a lower court decision that basically had ruled that there should be an injunction placed against him, and he could face fines of thousands of dollars a day. That was overturned, and the case is now being remanded back to that lower court for further decision on whatever the case originally was. So it's not over yet. This is how courts go. Like, there's one thing that gets appealed, it goes up, there's a decision, it goes back down. But what I wanted to share was the quote that they have here at mlive.com from Carl Mankey, the 77-year-old man who is fighting to be able to, cut people's hair who want to have their hair cut. It's not like he's forcing people to come into his shop.
Heaven forbid people should desire to have their hair cut.
Yeah, so according to this story here, by the way, his license does remain suspended, but he is continuing. His attorney says they're planning to file for a stay on that order. Mankey said Wednesday he has a right to work and will continue to do so in the face of court action, and there are only a few ways that he would stop working. Quote, either Jesus comes, they cut off my hands, or she resigns. One or the other. And when he says she resigns, he's talking about the governor.
Wow. Whitmer specifically, I believe he's talking about. Yes.
So, I mean, that's the kind of hardcore dedication that if only we had another 100,000 business owners like him.
Yeah. Again,
sadly, we don't.
If any of our listeners in Michigan have Mr. Mankey's contact information, please give him our phone number, 855-450-3733, and ask him to call us.
Well, I mean, he's got a barber shop.
Love to talk to him.
You could call him there if you really wanted to.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking. We were talking off air, but at the same time, if he called us, that'd be cool, too.
That would be cool.
And since we're called Free Talk Live, let's go to some of your calls and your thoughts right now. We have Rusty calling from Orlando, Florida. Rusty, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hi there, y'all. I'm a long-time listener.
Can you talk right into the phone, please?
This guy called without another night. He called without another night. I forget which night it was, but
so yeah. Just in case our listeners don't know, if you are going to call the show and you are driving, please use either hands-free technology or pull off to the side of the road when we actually take your car when you call in and that kind of thing. I'm pretty sure Rusty's doing this as a bit.
That was a prank.
So,
it's a good one.
Pretty sure nobody, no animals were harmed in the making of this production.
It made me laugh the second time. I mean, it is funny.
Continuing on with your calls and your thoughts.
It's better than calling and saying the F word. I mean, it's way better.
Oh, yeah, indeed it is. Let's go to Larry in Indiana. Larry, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey.
How you doing, Larry?
Everything's great, right?
All's well. What's on your mind?
Hey, look, now, the protesters, they're asking for local law enforcement to be defunded, right?
Okay.
Are they good?
They are asking for they are. They're demanding. They're demanded it, in fact.
Great.
And you know what that means?
What does that mean?
That cash-strapped cities can get rid of the largest part of their budget, which is public safety. That means that they can take that money.
Wait, public safety or police? Because the police are out there beating people, killing people, and putting people in prison.
No, okay, I'm talking about
That's
the
not
city.
safe.
I'm talking about the metropolitan police, the municipal policing for people. Okay, then they can get rid of that budget. Then you know who comes in to take the place? The feds come in to take their place, and there's totally different systems. The feds, the federal government, sends a policing force in to keep the peace. That's what they do.
I don't think that would be the case. I think that it would be the state.
That is the case.
I think you would likely see the state government send the police in,
the
or the
state
county.
government gets taken over too, because what happened is when they merged the municipal police force and the sheriff in our county, that made them as one. Now,
really?
The sheriff
they merged hold on, just to clarify, you're saying they merged the Indianapolis City Police with the county sheriff?
With the county sheriff.
When was that?
I knew at that time, it's been about 10 years back.
Huh. What do they call them now?
Well, I hope they're going to have to defund the feds too. Then
the IMPD,
IMPD,
Indiana, and the sheriff, because the sheriff is a constitutional officer, and he is the top law enforcement in every county throughout the state. So if they say something like, "Hey, we want you to prosecute federal crimes," the de facto judges are already here in place. We had de facto judges appointed in counties with large population of blacks, right? So that they can rule. And you know what a de facto judge, when they have a problem, they appoint these judges so that they can make the rulings to deal with that problem. You can look online and see the gigantic jail that they're building here in our city. And these de facto judges are going to keep it filled up because they're going to be prosecuting federal statutes and the state statutes also.
They're not going to prosecute federal statutes in state court.
You can't.
They're de facto judges.
They can house federal criminals, that's for sure.
They
can
already
house
federal. They already house the federal criminal.
Okay,
they're
but
going
Larry,
to do the prosecution.
I have a question. If the police department is defunded in any city, pick a city, the police department is defunded, police are gone, no more police. Why wouldn't new entrepreneurs or existing businesses be able to fill the void?
Because they can't afford to contact and contract with the city. They can't afford to have a training academy set up.
No.
Well, contracting with the city would defeat the point.
Yeah, contracting with the city would defeat the point. Why wouldn't private security services or insurance companies expand to now also offer security services in lieu of a police department existing?
Well, it is. The corporations already have their own security, and they have their jurisdiction over
let me
their
rephrase the
property
question,
in all
Larry.
cases.
Let me rephrase the question. The police department gets defunded. There's no more police department. What's stopping you personally from offering a new security service to individual people for, a reasonable price?
I don't have the money. I can't afford to do it.
Well, somebody's got some money.
I mean, if you're providing a service to them, then they would be providing money to you in return.
Well, you usually have to have money to start a business. I mean, you usually have to have something to start a business. You might want to have a car to drive around in, with a spotlight on it.
I can't afford it.
I mean,
right. So Larry's not in a position where he can start a business, is what it sounds like to me. But there are people who can start a business. There are people who do have the money to buy a car.
Well, and there are existing businesses who would love to expand their service and product offerings into the private security field.
Like an existing security company, you mean?
Or an insurance company or something along these lines, people who do have money. So, again, Larry, what's preventing that? What would prevent that from happening?
The money, because you can't afford to do it. You can't afford to do it.
Who can't? The insurance companies, they have a bunch of money.
They can't afford it. They can't afford it. I don't care.
Nobody has any money.
They can't.
Nobody in the world.
Only a municipality can afford to do that.
That's ridiculous.
And the only municipality.
You realize that municipalities have only as much money as they can rob people of.
Right. The money they took.
So the people they're robbing have more than the municipality stole.
Well, we're going along with it because then we're grandfathered into that situation. So what I'm saying is, and I won't have all your night.
When you say we're going along with it, what do you mean?
Yeah, you are, because you're buying into the protest. You're buying into colored people. Hey, look, they're using the
I'm not buying any people of any variety.
Yeah, neither am I. Having them for sale would be otherwise known as slavery.
That's all they're doing.
All right, well, thanks for the call tonight, Larry. Have a good night, bro. I'm with you, nobody. I'm not buying or selling any persons. I believe that would be known as slavery. So, 855-450 free. Should private industry take over policing services? More coming up. Free Talk Live.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for people to use it for everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that is as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
Is oral health important to you? If you don't like your own teeth, fresh breath, or kissing people, then by all means stop listening. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I became passionate about the product that she created and never want to live without it. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, but I find it does much more. They want you to love My Magic Mud as much as I do, so they're giving you a money-back guarantee plus 20% off. Go to mymagicmud.com and use coupon code FTL20 at checkout. mymagicmud.com, FTL20.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with the SNLS Network and listeners like you. Online at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,698, silver at $17.93, and Bitcoin is trading around $9,720. Today's gold, silver, and Bitcoin prices are brought to you by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven. The Liberty Beat and Brave Botanicals believe so strongly in the power of kratom, we're giving it away for free. Just go to libertybeat.news/freekratom. This is the Liberty Beat at snlsnetwork.com. In the news, a man was arrested late Sunday after reportedly ramming his car into a group of protesters in the Seattle Police Department's East Precinct on Capitol Hill and drawing his weapon on the crowd. As nationwide protests continued for a second weekend after George Floyd was killed on May 25th during a brutal arrest by the Minneapolis Police Department, events have taken a far more peaceful turn, with state National Guard members being demobilized and incidents of riots and violent confrontations tapering off. However, protesters gathered to demand systemic change outside Seattle's East Precinct were shocked after an unidentified male assailant drove his car into a group of protesters at 11th and Pine, before brandishing his weapon at the crowd and shooting somebody at around 8:30 Sunday night before fleeing the scene. In video of the incident shared to social media, the man could be seen driving into the crowd. As protesters swarmed the car and began to hit it after the apparent attempt to ram his vehicle into protesters, the man fires his gun out of the window. Ever wonder where we find all the news to report right here on the Liberty Beat? Visit snls.news to get the world's most censored media published all in one place. Save yourself from the endless time spent searching for reliable alternative media. SNLS News makes it quick and easy. No ads, no clickbait, just raw headlines, 24 hours a day. Visit snls.news and get informed today without the corporate media spin. Your news now continues. On Sunday, 9 members of the Minneapolis City Council proclaimed their support for disbanding the Minneapolis Police Department at a rally. Around the same time, Minneapolis cops were proving to the public exactly why they need to be disbanded by conducting drive-by pepper sprays on entirely peaceful protesters. The Free Thought Project reports that City Council President Lisa Bender minced no words on Sunday when she said, quote, Our commitment is to end our toxic relationship with MPD and to end policing as we know it, to recreate systems of public safety that actually keep us safe." End quote. In the past several weeks, the Austin, Texas Police Department has been captured on video murdering an unarmed man, shooting a child in the head with a rubber bullet, shooting an innocent student in the head with a projectile, and firing on the citizens attempting to render aid to that student. The Free Thought Project reports the acts of police violence have all gone unpunished. Tensions, as one might expect right now, are high between the community and their police force. According to the Austin Police Department, however, there has been an outpouring of support in the form of thank you cards. But the Twitterverse has found something smells fishy. A black and white officer were conveniently chosen to be photographed reading from a pile of thank you cards. But when their Twitter followers looked at the picture closely, they began to spot something strange. Most of the cards in the photo had the same handwriting. The Austin Police Department released a statement to Gizmodo about why the cards had the same handwriting, saying that two people who organized delivering the cards in person addressed the envelopes themselves with a thank you, meaning the handwriting was the same. The photos of the thank you cards came only days after APD shot a child in the head with a rubber bullet. Support for the Liberty Beat is brought to you by the Homestead Guru. The Homestead Guru is an educational website offering tips, tools, news, stories, and commentary on everything homesteading. Topics include green homes, gardening, animal husbandry, do-it-yourself, home remedies, alternative energy, survivalism, unschooling, and more. Those details are found online at thehomestead.guru. This is the Liberty Beat, powered by the SNLS Network at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
If you're just tuning in, a horrific accident. Dozens are dead and hundreds more injured after the Coors Light party train crashed in Pratt, Kansas. The train was barreling through a field on its way to liven up a boring, overheated barbecue when something went wrong. Partiers were thrown hundreds of feet from the train as the frost-powered locomotive careened through bystanders at its normal speed of over 27,000 miles per hour. Rescue crews are struggling to get close to the crash. The Rocky Mountain frost radiating from the downed silver bullet is flash freezing survivors' bodies as they try to escape the wreckage, and the OJ's hit song Love Train is looping at deafening levels. No word yet on the cause of the accident, but investigators are focusing now on the fact that the train weighs 400 million tons and was not on rails. Coors Light has released the following statement, quote, Coors Light regrets any loss of life caused by the Coors Light party train's raw, frosty power. Please continue to enjoy Coors Light. We'll have more on this story as it develops.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Heidi ho, everybody.
Heidi ho.
I can't do Towlie for very long, unfortunately.
Please don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
855, 450.
Okay, that wasn't even Towlie, dude. You got the wrong character. That's Mr. Hankey you're doing.
Oh, it is. It is, as a matter of fact. I forgot to bring a towel is what happened. My bad.
I mean, I've done bad impressions, but none so bad that I actually ended up imitating the wrong person.
Wait till I try to do a southern accent and it comes out Australian. That's happened to me before.
All right.
For some reason. Anyway, this is Free Talk
that
Live.
Is south.
Free Talk Live.
You just didn't specify the longitude. Longitude or latitude? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Longitude?
I don't know. Your latitude affects your attitude.
Yeah, that's right. Changes in latitude would be north and south.
I think you need a
Changes
latitude
of
adjustment.
Longitude.
I think you need a latitude
East and
adjustment.
west, so.
I've had enough of your latitude today, nobody. This is Free Talk Live, the live Monday night edition. 855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE. Like freedom, if you want to get on the air, talk about whatever you want, or talk about stuff we're talking about. With you in the studio tonight, it's...
You've got Ian.
And nobody.
And I am the captain. Continuing on with your calls and your thoughts, let's go directly to Evan in Madison, Alabama. Evan, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yeah, hey guys, I'm a first-time caller, and
Welcome.
I'm here to complain about the Libertarian Party vice presidential nominee.
Oh, no.
And So I wrote an article
Is it because
called,
he has
an open-
nipples?
What's that?
Is it because he has nipples?
It's not a he.
Oh, no, that's one of the reasons, yes. So actually I wrote an article called An Open Letter to Spike Cohen, which I sent a tweet to you guys while I was on hold.
Hold on, what's the joke about the nipples? I'm sorry.
Okay, Spike got his picture taken apparently once without his shirt on, and people think that's... I guess that's as close as the Libertarian Party comes to a sex scandal.
This is controversy that somebody had their shirt off? Really?
Well, we're a very clean party. We don't, I mean...
Really?
I don't belong to the party, so don't lump me in the category.
No, really? Evan, is that what you're upset about? You're upset about a guy with his shirt off somewhere?
Well, there are many reasons to be upset. So
well, tell me why that is one of them. Before you get to the other laundry list of whatever, why is that one of them that is upsetting to you? What does it matter whether somebody's got their shirt off at a party?
All right. First of all, it's not just one picture. It is loads and loads of extremely cringeworthy pictures. And, if somebody was looking to vote for Libertarian in 2020, they do a search for Spike Cohen. The first thing they will see is images like that, and it's an instant turnoff. People will treat the party as a joke.
Nixon must have been horrific with his clothes off, but yet he got elected.
Okay, so I just searched for Spike Cohen, and I clicked images, and I see a photograph of a man with a shirt that he is sort of maybe in the midst of pulling off.
Is it this one?
Yeah, but I don't see a shirt off. So you're saying that this man has a single photograph that shows up when you search for his name, where he's
not just a single photograph. I'm telling you, many photographs.
Okay, well,
not just that. He actually has what he calls the Libertarian Dad Bod Calendar.
The Dad Bod Calendar. Okay, that sounds funny.
Yeah, the
you don't have a
Libertarian
sense of
Dad
humor,
Bod
do
Calendar.
you? You don't have a sense of humor.
So why would you be upset about this? What's your issue?
Well, this is the total opposite of the type of message that, for example, Harry Brown or Ron Paul would deliver, which was very professional. That is true, but you have to keep the message professional.
Why?
Okay. I don't think most people even know who the vice presidential candidate for the Libertarian Party is or ever will be. I mean, look, I'll give you an example. The current presidential candidate, Joe Jorgensen, was a vice presidential candidate in 1996, and almost no one that I've spoken with was aware of that.
Yeah, I wasn't aware. This sounds to me like, Evan, and correct me if I'm wrong, this sounds to me like you're afflicted by the same thing that a lot of folks who follow the Democrat and the Republican parties, and that is that you get easily butthurt when your favorite candidate does something that you don't approve of.
Or not favorite candidate. I'm sure this guy was supporting somebody other than Vermin and Spike.
Why would you be butthurt about some guy appearing without a shirt on?
In order to be a credible
images?
Libertarian candidate, sir, would you say that one must go their entire life without going to the beach and taking their shirt off?
No, not at all. I'll give you this. Let's put aside the shirt issue.
Okay.
And I could go over some other problems.
All right, let's go to the other one.
Okay, what do you got?
All right, so if you do a search on Google or DuckDuckGo, and you do it for Spike Cohen, the very first results you'll see is his platform.
Wikipedia page.
Right, so, this is the actual platform that you'll find. It says, free ponies, zombie power, killing baby Hitler. Okay? So,
well, you're complaining to the wrong person about that, because let me tell you, I actually founded the Libertarian Party Motley Caucus. Do you know what Motley is?
I have heard the word.
Okay. Well, for those who don't know, motley is what they used to call the uniform of jesters. In Shakespeare, there's a line, I believe it's King Lear, I spy a fool, a motley fool, where, of course, a fool was a jester, and the jester was always interesting because the jester was the only person who could tell the truth to the king without getting his head cut off. So if you ever read Shakespeare, pay attention to the jester. So it's very clear that this system is rigged, that no matter what we do, we won't actually get arrested. But we can get a lot of message out by taking their joke of a political system and making it a funny joke. Because if they're going to impose a joke on us, come on. The funniest things they could come up with are Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton.
I mean, they are a joke.
Well, they are. Okay, bad example. Those guys are pretty funny. But
all right, so Evan,
but unintentionally in their case.
So Evan, what are the other things that you don't like about Spike Cohen for whatever reason?
Okay, well, the things that he does, they actually interfere with the campaign message. And let me give you an actual example. So there was an interview on 5:30 with Joe Jorgensen on NPR. So, it's not like they give libertarian candidates a lot of time. So this was a 6-minute interview. And, the host was asking her, what's the deal with Spike Cohen? What's up with this joke platform he's got there? So, with only 6 minutes to give the libertarian message, Joe was forced to waste 2 minutes of that explaining away Spike Cohen's problem. So, Spike Cohen is taking away from the libertarian message. That was just one example. I've got more.
Huh. I mean, I don't know. I don't, do you understand the joke behind Vermin's platform? I know you don't like it, but do you get it? Do you understand, what the comic twist is?
Yes, I do understand it. Let me tell you this, though. Spike, frankly speaking, it's not really that funny. It looks like it's written for a 14-year-old who goes around saying, wow, I'm so random. It's terrible humor in Spike's case.
Well, not everybody has the same taste.
Yeah, I have a suggestion.
But, that's the point. But, this kind of satire, it's just not going to work for the libertarian message.
Why the bottom line is I listen to people piss and moan about Gary Johnson all through the last bloody election. And frankly, we've nominated a candidate. He's our nominee. So deal with it.
Okay, I'm fine to deal with it. My only request to Spike, you can stay on the ticket, but just clean up your image.
Well,
that's my only
just
request.
to respond to your comment on wasting airtime, you could have come and given me wonderful insights in libertarian philosophy.
Hey, thanks for the call
tonight,
Evan. We do appreciate the call. I suggest that he just not pay attention to Spike and not vote for him if he feels that way. I don't know any other advice to give him. 855-450-FREE is our number. If you would like to get on, this is Free Talk Live. More coming up.
The next generation wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to send, earn, spend, and exchange digital money in seconds. Send money around the globe with only a swipe. Instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat right in the mobile app and withdraw directly to your bank account. Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with crypto. Multi-tiered masternodes allow everyone to partake in the network. Visit DivvyProject.org. DivvyProject.org.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. Local.bitcoin.com.
This COVID-19 thing has turned the world upside down. Regardless of what you believe about it, it has changed our lives. But what's not changed is that if you own a business, you need to advertise to reach new customers or clients. Our audience is not the kind to stick their heads in the sand during a crisis. They are fully engaged and more active than ever. Special advertising packages are available to you to help you not just recover, but thrive. Email my sales manager, Matthew at freetalklive.com. Did you know you can support freedom of speech just by visiting shop.freetalklive.com? You'll see links to Walmart, Love Java, Newegg, and more. Every day, Free Talk Live is at the forefront of the liberty movement as the biggest liberty-oriented talk show in the world, giving you a platform to be heard on any topic. Get listener-only specials without doing anything other than an extra click. Visit shop.freetalklive.com. Use the links and buy what you'd be buying anyway. Take action now. Save and support freedom. Visit shop.freetalklive.com. It's shop.freetalklive.com.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
There are basically two types of advertising: direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark at freetalklive.com.
Live video of our Keene, New Hampshire-based shows is streamed on DLive. Please follow and share at dlive.lrn.fm. That's dlive.lrn.fm.
$855, $453, Light Freedom. This is Dave Mustaine tonight on Free Talk Live. I'm just kidding. It's the captain doing another horrible impersonation, as I like to do. With you in the studio tonight, it's myself. I am the captain.
Hello, me. It's Ian.
And I'm a fish.
Again, little Megadeth reference.
Yeah.
Hey,
that was my fish imitation.
Speaking of fish, nobody. What's the difference between a lawyer and a catfish?
Well, one's a scum-sucking bottom dweller, and the other's a fish.
Yeah, very good. We were talking in the last segment to a caller who, for whatever reason, seems butthurt by a gentleman named Spike Cohen, who's the vice president nominee for
most people would have been, if the dude had called in and said he had problems with Spike Cohen, 99.9% of people listening would have said, who?
Well, I mean, I did. I didn't know who it was.
Yeah,
I had
most
to go
of
look.
the people who I've talked to didn't even know who Jo Jorgensen was, the presidential nominee, didn't know that she was the Libertarian Party's vice presidential nominee from 1996.
Right.
You know, if they would have if she'd taken her shirt off during the race. Though.
True, but she's kept her shirt on.
But she's female, you know. Well, it's different.
And she's a different person than Spike is. So, and I don't know a whole lot about most of these candidates, but we did have Joe on the show earlier this week.
That is a fact.
Or last
week. My impression of her is that she's, very solid, kind of non-controversial.
Yeah, she's a doctor. She seems pretty intelligent as well. We can talk more about it.
Yeah, we will talk.
Is, the Harry Brown vein as well.
We will talk more, but I know you had something else that you wanted to follow on the Spike Cohen bit, the Libertarian Party bit. So we'll get to that. But first, I wanted to tell you that the Next Generation wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to spend, earn, store, and exchange digital money in seconds. Divvy says you'll be able to send money around the globe in only a swipe and instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat currencies right in the mobile app and withdraw directly to your bank account. That's pretty phenomenal. There's no need to wait, though, as Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with their multi-tiered masternodes, allowing anyone to earn by supporting the Divvy network. When the new Divvy network launches or wallet launches, because of Divvy's relationship with Western Union, Divvy will be in 200 countries, including the United States. You can learn more at divvyproject.org. That's divvyproject.org. Back to you, Ian.
Yeah, so like I said, I don't know a whole lot about this guy, but I did watch some of the Libertarian Party's convention that they had. It was like an online thing with 1,000 people in a Zoom conference, basically, and it was a cluster F, and as you might expect it to be, in a lot of ways.
So it was like going to school.
But I watched some of it, and specifically the portions that were about the nominations of these characters.
Okay.
And remember, I supported Vermin Supreme for the presidential nomination, and for those who aren't familiar, that's the guy that wears the boot on top of his head. He's run as a Republican in the past, a Democrat in the past.
He was the pony guy.
And he was the pony guy, but I think Spike apparently, I guess, adopted his platform.
Spike was his vice presidential pick.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is definitely a Motley Caucus kind of guy.
But the Vermin never got higher than third place in the, they have different rounds, basically. So they have eliminations they start with maybe 5 or 6 candidates, and then the person who doesn't get, or the person getting the least of the votes gets eliminated, then they vote again. And so they keep voting until one candidate gets more than 51 or 50% of the vote. And so Joe Jorgensen defeated Vermin Supreme pretty soundly. So the message from the delegates at the convention was clear, right? Hey, we like this Vermin guy. He got third place. He was a solid third, right?
Yeah.
Like he was really good in third place. But ultimately he was eliminated, and Joe Jorgensen won. And that was the convention basically saying we would prefer a more serious candidate. However, Spike pretty soundly won the vice presidential candidacy. So maybe they did see some value in having somebody with a sense of humor in that particular role. And good for them.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like splitting Gary Johnson in two, and sending the serious part off one place, and where the clown won't embarrass him. But no, I think that that clowning is a perfectly acceptable way to make a political point. I love Vermin's his parody of the candidate that's going to give you everything you want. But
I just don't understand people, why they get butthurt about their favorite candidate or candidates, or their least favorite, or they're not favorite, right?
That's
why is anything that Spike Cohen does, why does this guy get butthurt by it?
Well, he's probably a Libertarian Party devotee, right? Like this guy who called in, who was all upset about this vice presidential pick. He probably had a favorite, and it wasn't his guy who got the nomination, right? Like it was the other guy. So, and he's probably butthurt about that. He probably
is this the
takes
same
this
thing
stuff
as like,
really seriously.
as like the sports affliction, when people get like really upset that their favorite quarterback got traded or didn't get his contract renewed or whatever.
That it matters who's president. It doesn't matter who's
I beg to differ.
But ultimately, whoever the nominee is.
If nobody was president, it would make a huge difference.
Nobody would be much better.
Well, but
nobody would be too stoned to run a country. It'd just be like, man, I can't believe I did this.
You're not wrong, nobody, that it doesn't matter as far as like who's president, because they're going to rule over us. But if it were the Libertarian, that would make some sort of a difference. But further,
yeah, and I mean, for one thing, if you're thinking about secession, who is going to not call out the military when you secede?
Well, actually, that was one of the questions that Joe Jorgensen kind of stumbled a little bit on. But for the most part, she was pretty good in how she handled things. But what I was going to say is no one cares who the Libertarian Party's vice presidential candidate is. This guy's getting all aflutter over this relatively insignificant role. Yeah. Try to name the last 2 Libertarian presidential vice presidential candidates.
No thanks.
Last 2.
Oh, let's see. Well, of course, the last one was Bill Weld.
I don't follow politics because I don't believe in religion.
I didn't think you'd be able to do it, but
oh, thanks.
For Bill Weld,
I have to think real hard.
It was Badnarik who ran for president. Or am I missing
no, you're skipping,
but
you're
like,
skipping one.
so the
Skipping
Spike
two.
Cohen guy isn't the first guy, though. Who was the guy that, like, took off his shirt at the podium?
That guy's name was James Weeks. You're talking about the dude who did a strip
That's
tease.
the guy, yeah.
Yeah, I
he
bet
irritated me a lot more than anything Spike Cohen.
Well, I suspect this guy was upset about that, too. I'm
You
just
think?
going to go out on a limb and say that this guy doesn't like that kind of humor, that kind of fun, that kind of openness.
Well, I will admit, I thought it was a bad play.
I thought it was hilarious.
You know, the thing is,
I also thought it was hilarious. I
what
saw
was
the
the
video.
song he played? Something about sex with a bearded man? Something about that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what was that, nobody? You were trying to say something.
I love making a joke out of the political system, but you probably won't see me doing it at party functions. And the reason is because, I mean, it is the Libertarian Party remains something that's important to me.
Well, some people have what it takes to do a striptease, and some don't. I guess you're one that doesn't.
That's okay. It's like Riverdance of the Living Dead. You don't want to see that.
Are you capable of doing some sort of a striptease in support of the Libertarian Party, or do you care? 855-450 free like freedom. Give us your calls and your thoughts. We've got more coming up on the live Monday night edition of Free Talk Live.
When I adopted her, she was a mess. Scabs, itching, licking, missing fur, hot spots, a thin, dull coat. So I take the dog to the vet for the standard run-of-the-mill tests and treatments. No results. I hear your advertisement on the radio.
DINOVITE.com.
So I get the 5-pound box of Dinovite and the Lico Chops within a 4-week total. Instead of a German Setter, I have a German Shepherd. Sheba is 105 lean pounds of shiny, smooth, happy dog for life because she gets fed Dinovite. And the results, they're just incredibly outstanding. And she loves it. When you rescue a dog, you have to do the right thing. You've got to feed them right for life. Do the Dinovite. Dinovite for life.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
859-428-1000. DINOVITE.com.
Gilman's Hardware is a local business with a very special story. Although small and family-owned, the storefront operation has managed to consistently exploit and debase its workers just as if they were members of a giant multinational corporation.
From the moment I started the store 6 years ago, I wanted to make sure that every employee here at Gilman's felt like they were nothing more than a cog in a giant machine, just as if they had worked at one of our larger corporate competitors.
Den Blaker said that despite having only 10 employees and a single location, he's managed to implement a number of unique policies to significantly reduce employee morale, including forbidding sales clerks to sit down during lengthy shifts, reducing their number of days with paid time off, and insisting on humiliating pat-downs during lunch breaks to ensure they never felt like trusted or valued employees.
Other small businesses might have given me benefits or, let me take a day off. But everyone here at Gilman's does their best to treat you like you're a totally replaceable tool for generating profit.
This is the Onion News Network.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealestate.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
A congressman recently revealed that legislation totaling 2,900 pages and involving more than $1 trillion was available to members of Congress for less than 48 hours to study and consider. That's over 60 pages of legislation per hour. Do you think anyone read the entire bill? I'm Jim Babka with DownsizeDC.org. Consider a proposal buried in a 3,200-page, $388 billion bill, which would have empowered committee chairmen or their agents to examine Americans' tax returns. When this horrible provision came to light, no one claimed to know how it got into the bill. One congressman questioned said, "I didn't write it, I didn't approve it, I wasn't even consulted." If your attorney represented you this way, he might be disbarred. But this is how Congress represents you every day. That's why DownsizeDC.org has created the Read the Bills Act. You can force Congress to read their bills before they pass them at DownsizeDC.org.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. The Kickass edition.
Hey, there you go.
855 450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. If you would like to call in and talk about, well, whatever you want. We generally like to talk about things from the perspective of freedom, but we don't talk, that's not the only thing we talk about. We'll talk about whatever. It doesn't really matter. And as far as we're concerned, you could call about whatever you like. So with you tonight, it is myself, the captain.
It's Ian.
And nobody.
And
what doesn't come back to freedom, though?
Well, freedom's the answer. What's the question?
Yeah.
To paraphrase Ernie. For those of you who don't know, he's the host of this.
Is that Ernie Hancock?
Ernie Hancock, yeah.
Okay.
For our listeners who don't know, he's the host of Freedom's Phoenix, and that's kind of, he made that ingrained in my head from me listening to his show for several years. He is an enjoyable listen in more ways than one. So we've been talking about a whole bunch of things. I feel like we've kind of, ended the Libertarian Party candidate bit, right? So let's move into something. Unless you got something else to say about it?
Well, I would say want to say one more thing on that, which is the Libertarian Party this year has two very different candidates for president and vice president. So I would say if you've got a problem with the other, with one, you should be pretty happy with the other. So find nice things to say about the guy you like instead of bad things to say about the guy you don't.
That's good advice.
Wow. Father Nobody in the house tonight.
I am a pope.
He is a pope.
Poping ain't easy.
Poping ain't easy. Do you have a pope cane? We need to get you a pope cane.
Huh?
We need to get you a pope cane.
I've actually got a head for it, which is along with my monk's robe. I had one of our local craftsmen, as a Free Stater, make me 3 hand-carved question marks.
That is awesome.
And one of them is designed to go on the top of a staff.
I have to apologize to you, Nobody. I've been calling the vehicle that you roll around in sometimes the no-mobile, right? Or the Nobody-mobile.
It's a Pope-mobile.
But it's the Pope-mobile. Yeah.
But it could be the Nobody-mobile.
We need to get a giant plexiglass dome built on top of that thing, so you can ride around and do that like pageant.
I would be happy
wave.
if I could just get myself around to getting the freaking thing painted.
Well,
it's
yep. Those things ain't free.
Way too many things to do.
Speaking of which, how can people donate to your campaign should they wish to support you and your endeavors?
People can donate to my campaign in any form they like. I most prefer crypto, of course, but Give me what you least prefer, and I'll still put it to good use. And you can find a gift page at electnobody.com/gifts.
Nice.
And yeah, I mean, if nothing else, this is what you need to ask yourself before you donate. Am I enjoying the show? Do I occasionally see this guy's antics and get a chuckle out of it? If so, throw me a few bucks maybe. I can't promise you I'm going to get elected, you know. As a matter of fact, I would be somewhat surprised if I got elected.
You would be,
but I hope
is
to
what you
put
would be.
on a show that somebody will find enjoyable.
I certainly enjoy hosting this show when you're on it, Nobody, and I thank you for your efforts. I'm going to just change subject here because this, the police thing right now is pretty big. It's a big topic. Talking about, defunding police departments and riots because of,
we can only hope
what police do and all that kind of thing.
The thing is that no, they're not going to do
don't
that.
get your hopes
They're going
up.
to rearrange things. They're going to replace the other guy's cronies with their cronies, and they're going to go about their business.
Well, I was talking about on Sunday night my experience and yours as well. Nobody, we were there together at this Nashua Black Lives Matter event that happened on Saturday night, and that the whole thing had been essentially co-opted by the political class, by politicians. They had the mayor speak there. There were 2 aldermen who spoke. A New Hampshire senator spoke. It was just so disgusting. And so their, of course, proposal was that people vote, that you need to get out and vote, that's going to make things better. There was no actual proposal to change anything like, ending the war on drugs. And now...
No, they did actually mention defunding the police because I yelled, anarchy!
That was one of the...
It was the only thing I really responded to.
I don't think that was one of the political speakers. They did have some non-political speakers.
Okay.
You know what, Nobody? I'm gonna donate 2 FRNs to your campaign right now, just for having yelled anarchy during the BLM protest.
Thank you.
There were some decent speeches by some young people, right? So they didn't have all politicians, but it was politicians for the first hour, basically. But now, during the calls for all these defunding of police departments, which isn't a terrible idea, guess who's come against defunding police departments? None other than Joe Biden himself.
The kid sniffer.
Well, the crime bill that put so many black people in prison was signed by Bill Clinton, but it was Joe Biden's baby.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Not a surprise. So, for all these people who thought that Biden was going to be some sort of an answer to Trump, because a lot of the people at these protests, they hate Trump, right? They hate Trump. Lots of F Trump signs and things like that.
Also, in contrast to the reopen protests, it was a different crowd.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Very different
Interesting.
crowd. Yeah, this is a lefty crowd.
Oh, very.
Yeah, this is a lefty crowd. The reopen NH crowd is a righty crowd.
I miss all the fun.
Yeah, one of the big differences between these crowds are face masks. The lefty crowd is full of people with face masks. And in fact, the organizers of these events are they're requesting in their event creations, like what the description of the event is, it encourages people to wear face masks for protection.
I actually put one on for a little while because
I couldn't believe it.
Well, the thing is, I'd been smoking wax and I was gonna cough, and the thing, I didn't want to get lynched. Get
him!
I can just see them. They're nailing me to the tree, and I'm like, it was the wax. It was the goddamn wax.
You didn't want to get whacked for wax? I have a question.
Yeah.
The protests, when the first hour of politician after politician were speaking, how many of them wore the mask?
Oh, I wasn't actually able to see most of the stage from my vantage point because I wanted to get out of the sun, so I was standing behind a tree.
I understand.
At that time, so I could not tell you the answer to that question.
And anybody who gives a speech giving one of those masks should have stayed home. I can't even communicate with a cashier who's wearing one.
Yeah, I was on about that. On the last couple times I was on Free Talk Live. So
you're not going to get any projection.
I won't regurgitate
in your voice.
it again.
I wouldn't do it.
Other than to say, I'm really sorry to see so many people turned into Kenny from South Park. We have this article.
What?
Yeah, Kenny from South Park. You remember he pulls his hood so tightly closed that you...
Oh, yeah.
That's everybody wearing the mask, right?
Nice. I didn't even catch that. You got it.
I got you, bro.
And you got the character's name right, too.
This time. This time. But keep an eye on me. I do strange things from time to time, every now and again, occasionally.
You do strange things.
In periodic
I changed
intervals.
my name to nobody and ran for governor. It doesn't get any stranger than that.
By the way, nobody currently does not have any competition in the governor race at this point.
Nobody does not have no competition. Nobody ain't got no.
That's right.
Nope. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time to put you in jail.
8:55.
Ain't nobody got time to beat you up.
450 free like freedom. Do you have time for nobody, or do you not have no time for nobody? Give us a call. Free Talk Live. More coming up.
Now with orders to stay at home, public health concerns, the reality of illness due to pathogens and viruses, your health is at an all-time high risk. That's why it's critical to take a proactive approach to boost your immune system. You can with new nano-colloidal silver from Americare, our patented process with tiny silver particles, 1/100th the size of a red blood cell, allows for maximum body absorption. Americare's nano-colloidal silver effectively disinfects your body internally, attacking pathogens and viruses while supercharging your immune system. Colloidal silver is antibacterial and antiviral. Simply put, it prohibits bacterial respiration, suffocating viral cells, preventing the virus from replicating. And now, due to public health concern, Americare is authorized to offer our lowest and best price ever, around $1 a day, but supplies are limited. Purchase nano-colloidal silver now at immunesupportnow.com. That's immunesupportnow.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Supplies are limited.
Warning, if you're drowning in debt you can't afford, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to pay it all back, because you don't. What the credit card companies don't want you to know is that there's actually a way to get debt-free without paying off your entire debt or going bankrupt. If you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt, you now have the right to let us settle that debt for a fraction of what you owe. For free information, call Credit Associates now, 1-800-900-8407. We'll even show you how much money you could save. If you can't afford to pay off all your debt, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to. Call Credit Associates now for free information on how to get debt-free faster than you ever thought possible without debt consolidation or bankruptcy. We depend on your success and offer a guarantee, so there's no risk. For free information, call now, 1-800-900-8407. That's 1-800-900-8407. 1-800-900-8407.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon.
the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it! You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Yes, you're in the right place for Free Talk Live, the live call-in radio show that you can take control of the airwaves. Our toll-free number here is 855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE, like freedom. With you tonight, it is myself, the captain.
It's Ian.
And nobody.
And I wanted to tell you about Liberty.menu. For years, libertarians of all stripes have wanted a directory of liberty-minded businesses, and we're helping build one. It's Liberty.menu. Liberty.menu is a tool for your community. At its core, it's a directory for events, businesses, and digital content, and more. Listings can be rated and reviewed, and there's a bit of a social network so that you can connect and share with others. Use of Liberty.menu is exclusively for individuals who reject the initiation of force and those who agree to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle. Put your voluntarist ideas into action at liberty.menu and use code FTL to get a special badge. That's liberty.menu. In our previous segment, we began to discuss some things about the police because, well, folks seem to be overwhelmingly concerned. The media has been certainly churning the hype machine to get folks thinking about police and what they do or don't do and how they do or don't do what they're supposed to do.
Which is really interesting. I mean, I give a certain credence to the idea that this is this is actually a trap that's been set up for Trump.
Well, they're positioning it.
What's the trap? I'm sorry.
Well, the whole police brutality thing, which he predictably responded to it with bluster, and it was exactly the wrong way to hit it. And of course, whatever he did, they were going to say it was bad. But this time, yeah, he showed very little sympathy for, people getting shot in the street for nothing. And
well, Trump is likely to take the side of the police. So, I mean, that's not a surprise to me at all.
I wonder, though, is it a surprise to all those people who go, oh, he's the most libertarian president ever?
Those people just ignore everything.
Are you serious?
Yeah, those people are ridiculous.
So one of our other co-hosts contributes to our show prep from time to time, and he hasn't been able to appear on the show in quite some time, and he puts some quality content in our show prep. And he put this one in from CNN. This is the first time I've seen something like this out of CNN. The headline reads, videos often contradict what police say in reports.
Think?
Well, as us and the types of people we are, I think the three of us here and probably most hosts of the show already kind of aware of this. We've seen time and time again where, a video will clearly show some police brutality, and then the statement from the police will be like, oh, he fell down, or, we investigated ourselves and we found we didn't do anything wrong, et cetera, and so on. But this says the videos often contradict what police say in reports. Here's why some officers continue to lie. Now, before we get into any of the article,
I guess the reason that I find that oh so not shocking is because when I used to watch a lot of cop block videos, and when you see the things they do, it's like, well, yeah, they got to be lying about that, or,
right?
The
shocking part to me is that this is a CNN article saying these things. That's the shocking part to me. Now, maybe I probably don't pay much attention to CNN. I like to call it the criminal news network because, well, the news they put out is pretty criminal.
Well, CNN has been, since Trump was elected, critical of the Trump administration, right? Like they've been critical of that, and so they're going to go in this direction because somebody who they don't like is in office. If it were Obama who were in, I don't think you would see this particular story.
Yeah.
Also,
no, I mean, you wouldn't have even heard about the riots. They played those riots for days, and it's like if something like that happened with a president the media liked, with Obama or
they downplay it.
Clinton, a Democrat, it wouldn't even get on TV. It would be kept as quiet as the freaking Ron Paul campaign.
And they may be going a little bit further than they normally would because the rioters showed up at their offices in Atlanta last week. I don't know if you remember that, but there were photos of the rioters sitting atop the CNN big letters that they have outside of their offices, and they'd spray painted onto the CNN logo, and so they are under fire by some of these rioters. So I suspect they would prefer the rioters not show up and continue damaging, so they might run some positive news.
And I gotta say that's a good thing because I mean the media is virtually a wing of the government.
Oh yeah, it certainly is.
And they are there constantly. Yeah. To what is it? The politician's job is to provide service, and the media's job is to provide lubrication.
So, from this article, a video showed officers in Buffalo, New York, pushing a 75-year-old man. Police say initially he had tripped and fell. News cameras showed officers in Atlanta.
Yeah, see, that's one of those things you just got to assume that they're lying about that.
News cameras showed officers in Atlanta breaking the windows of a vehicle, pulling a woman out of the car, and tasing a man. In his report, an officer wrote he wasn't sure the pair was armed. They were college students returning from a late-night food run. The only thing they were armed with was
who cares if they're armed?
Tacos.
They've got a Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms.
Yes, they do. Surveillance footage from a Minneapolis restaurant near where George Floyd was killed appeared to contradict police claims that he resisted arrest. Police officers are authority figures, and their words have historically held more weight than the average citizen. But videos from several recent incidents and countless others from over the years have shown what many black Americans have long maintained, that police officers lie. Dun, dun, dun.
Yes, they do.
Police officers lie. Say it ain't so.
Cops lie and people die.
I know we covered it here on the show, but
cops get paid.
For our listeners who maybe are
This is what happens when you call the cops.
Indeed. For our listeners who are maybe first tuning in, police are actually trained to lie to you.
Yep.
And in fact, it's illegal for you to lie to them, but it's not only...
No,
it's bad legal
feds.
advice. Yeah, I'm not an attorney, but in most places in the United States, lying to the local cops will not get you a charge. There may be some exceptions to that, but the federal agents can absolutely charge you for lying to them.
But at any rate, the police are trained to lie to you. It is a tactic that they are schooled in and use frequently.
And the other thing is, no matter what you say to them, they're not going to believe it.
Right.
Because you're just a perp. Whoever you are, if you're not a cop, you're a perp.
So they don't name who these experts are, but they say, here's why experts say some police officers falsify reports and statements and why the problem persists. I have my own conclusion for this statement, but we'll save that.
I wonder what they're going to say about it.
What prompts it? It's fairly common for officers to lie in police reports, says Philip Stinson, a criminologist and professor of criminal justice at Bowling Green State University. Stinson has tracked arrest cases of non-federal sworn law enforcement officers who have been charged with at least one crime from 2005 to 2014. His research shows that out of more than 10,000 officer arrest cases, about 6.3% involved false reports or statements. About a quarter of those cases involving false reports or statements also involved alleged acts of police violence, and he said that the problem is probably more common than the data suggests.
I'm sure it is.
Oh, yeah.
So why do officers lie?
You know, this brings to mind, I'll propose a law that I think would make the world a better place, which is basically if a cop is found to have framed somebody, that carries the sentence of whatever he framed them for.
Ooh, yeah.
You frame somebody for murder, maybe you get the death penalty.
I like it.
Yeah.
Turnabout is fair play. These truths are
self-evident.
Wow. Now, thank you. These truths are self-evident.
The words, however,
are
remain
created
at
equal.
large.
Sorry, I just washed my lips and I can't do a thing with them.
Your vernacular called. So why do officers lie in police statements? Well, answer number one.
Because they're always beating the hell out of people and stealing stuff. You can't just put that in a report.
I mean, answer number one from CNN, self-preservation. One of the reasons is simple, to avoid the consequences. That's according to David Thomas, a professor of forensic studies and criminal justice at Florida Gulf Coast University and a retired police officer. Your motivation to lie really is to keep your job and hope that nobody finds out, Thomas said. Hope that nobody finds out.
Well, a lot of times they kill people on camera and get away with it, so.
Nobody's going to know.
Do you hope that nobody finds out when you lie? Are you a police officer and have you lied? Our number here is 855-450-FREE. Give us a call. More coming up.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now's your chance to be part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for everyone to use it in everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that's as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more, and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with the SNLS Network and listeners like you. Online at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,698, silver at $17.93, and Bitcoin is trading around $9,720. Today's gold, silver, and Bitcoin prices are brought to you by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven. The Liberty Beat and Brave Botanicals believe so strongly in the power of kratom, we're giving it away for free. Just go to libertybeat.news/free kratom. This is the Liberty Beat at snlsnetwork.com. In the news, a man was arrested late Sunday after reportedly ramming his car into a group of protesters in the Seattle Police Department's East Precinct on Capitol Hill, and drawing his weapon on the crowd. As nationwide protests continued for a second weekend after George Floyd was killed on May 25th during a brutal arrest by the Minneapolis Police Department, events have taken a far more peaceful turn, with state National Guard members being demobilized and incidents of riots and violent confrontations tapering off. However, protesters gathered to demand systemic change outside Seattle's East Precinct were shocked after an unidentified male assailant drove his car into a group of protesters at 11th and Pine, before brandishing his weapon at the crowd and shooting somebody at around 8:30 Sunday night before fleeing the scene. In video of the incident, shared to social media, the man could be seen driving into the crowd. As protesters swarmed the car and began to hit it after the apparent attempt to ram his vehicle into protesters, the man fires his gun out of the window.
Ever wonder where we find all the news to report right here on the Liberty Beat? Visit snls.news to get the world's most censored media published all in one place. Save yourself from the endless time spent searching for reliable alternative media. SNLS News makes it quick and easy. No ads, no clickbait, just raw headlines, 24 hours a day. Visit snls.news and get informed today without the corporate media spin.
Your news now continues. On Sunday, 9 members of the Minneapolis City Council proclaimed their support for disbanding the Minneapolis Police Department at a rally. Around the same time, Minneapolis cops were proving to the public exactly why they need to be disbanded by conducting drive-by pepper sprays on entirely peaceful protesters. The Free Thought Project reports that City Council President Lisa Bender minced no words on Sunday when she said, quote, "Our commitment is to end our toxic relationship with MPD and to end policing as we know it, to recreate systems of public safety that actually keep us safe," end quote. In the past several weeks, the Austin, Texas Police Department has been captured on video murdering an unarmed man, shooting a child in the head with a rubber bullet, shooting an innocent student in the head with a projectile, and firing on the citizens attempting to render aid to that student. The Free Thought Project reports the acts of police violence have all gone unpunished. Tensions, as one might expect right now, are high between the community and their police force. According to the Austin Police Department, however, there has been an outpouring of support in the form of thank you cards. But the Twitterverse has found something smells fishy. A black and white officer were conveniently chosen to be photographed reading from a pile of thank you cards. But when their Twitter followers looked at the picture closely, they began to spot something strange. Most of the cards in the photo had the same handwriting. The Austin Police Department released a statement to Gizmodo about why the cards had the same handwriting, saying that 2 people who organized delivering the cards in person addressed the envelopes themselves with a thank you, meaning the handwriting was the same. The photos of the thank you cards came only days after APD shot a child in the head with a rubber bullet.
Support for the Liberty Beat is brought to you by the Homestead Guru. The Homestead Guru is an educational website offering tips, tools, news, stories, and commentary on everything homesteading. Topics include green homes, gardening, animal husbandry, do-it-yourself, home remedies, alternative energy, survivalism, unschooling, and more. Those details are found online at thehomestead.guru. This is the Liberty Beat, powered by the SNLS Network at snlsnetwork.com. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
If you're a parent, chances are you know all about the Spooky Truth books, with subjects ranging from shadowy fraternal organizations to mind-controlling TV shows. Kids can't get enough of this series of short, scary children's novels.
And Spooky Truth author K.L. Graves is joining us this morning. Thanks for having me.
Now, my kids just love these books. In just 4 years, you've put out 25 books. It came from Tower 7, Curse of the Chemtrails, The Zionist Who Cried Holocaust.
Now, this stuff has really been catching on. Over 40 million copies sold, so many bestsellers out there.
I've been thrilled. Before this series, I was self-publishing pamphlets and handing them out on the train. Now I get emails from teachers and parents all the time telling me that my books are all their kids can talk about.
Oh, well, it's true. My son used to hate to read. Now he's holed up in the basement with these Spooky Truth books all day and night. Says he never watches TV, doesn't even want tap water anymore. He just loves reading so much.
This is the Onion News Network.
Talk Live.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Free Talk Live. You are in the right place if you are waiting to hear the third hour of our live call-in talk show. Our toll-free number here is 855-450-3733. You can give a call and talk about, well, whatever you like. That's 855-450-FREE like freedom. We also have our Discord lines over at discord.lrn.fm where you can join in the chat rooms that are a whole lot of fun, but you can also take advantage of the on-air call-in lines over there and sound almost like you're here in the studio with us. And speaking of us, tonight, it's
Ian.
And nobody.
And the captain. We all say with, like, zero enthusiasm.
Well, we're talking about police abuse, so it's hard to be enthusiastic. When the
Who's
police...
abusing the police?
No one.
Oh.
Yeah, in fact, perhaps more people should consider abusing the police.
Well, I don't think that violence is going to...
Not in a violent way, but there are many forms of abuse. Mm-hmm. There's verbal abuse, for example.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that I do, which is whenever...
He said do.
Leave it to you, Captain.
Yeah, of course.
Captain Pottymouth.
Welcome
tonight
to the
on
8th
Free
grade.
Talk Live.
We got spots. We have fun and games.
What do you do, nobody?
I don't even know. What the hell are you talking about?
Police abuse?
Oh,
things you would say,
police
do.
abuse. What I do is I call police stations when they do these things.
Yep.
You know, and I let them know because as a felon, I don't have any guns, so I'm the logical candidate to call them up and tell them that they're the reason we need AR-15s.
Well, I don't consider calling and giving the police your opinion to be abusive. I think that is a necessary feedback that these people need to receive. And they need to receive it more often, not just from phone calls, but they also need to receive it in real life where people tell them, hey, Mr. So-and-so officer, I don't agree with what you just did to that person over there. You need to stop what you're doing. Stop hurting him. Stop threatening peaceful people. Leave people alone. If they got that every time they went to a call, if they got pushback from the passersby, the people who were nearby, telling them that they don't like what they're doing and they hate the police for doing the things that they're doing, I think that they might be more likely to change their behavior over time.
Yeah, I mean, certainly social pressure has power.
Yeah.
It doesn't have any power over sociopaths, but pretty much anybody else can be socially pressured to some extent.
Apparently, if you social pressure enough by, lighting a police precinct on fire, you can get cops arrested.
Oh, well, yeah, sure. and that's the thing is the real shock, or not shock, but it would have been a shock to me if I'd believed my teachers. Was that they didn't even make a show of trying to prosecute any of these killer cops until now.
Yeah, until the riots.
It's
I expect it will just be a show. I'm not going to expect them to go to any jail time.
I predicted the same thing when it happened. I was like, they arrested the guy. They charged him with third-degree murder. Right?
Well,
he's not going to do any time.
I don't know. I think what he's going to be judged for is not even so much as the guy who killed one more serf, because they don't care about that. Right. But the guy who actually got the town burned down. It's like...
Yeah, he's probably not real well liked in the Minneapolis region. We'll talk more about the police and why they do what they do and why their statements often are mismatched against the video evidence. But first,
why they lie.
Yes, why they lie. But first, let's go to your calls and your thoughts. We've got Jason calling from Colorado Springs, Colorado. He's listening on LRN.FM. Jason, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Good evening, gentlemen. I found a web article today called COVID 19 deaths in the United States as of June 8th, which is just, yesterday?
Today?
By state. Yeah, and what's really weird, Ian, is you would think that the states that never locked down would have a, quote, higher death rate, right? Because they didn't do anything. They didn't stop. They didn't shut down businesses. And
which state was
got
this?
There's a bunch of them. Arkansas is the one I'm going to focus on, but all the kind of the ones like Montana, Wyoming, the Dakotas, they never locked down. They also have Republican governors.
Now, just to be clear, when you say they never locked down, what you mean is there was never an order for people that they have to stay at home. However, all of the states, from what I understand, did have restrictions on businesses, didn't they?
No.
I don't know. I believe that these didn't even have a restriction, but I'm not certain.
Yeah, I believe there were states. I believe there was at least one female governor, maybe Idaho, who basically said, "No, I'm not doing any of that stuff. That's stupid."
Yeah.
She didn't get much airtime, though.
So, what were the results, Jason?
So what's interesting is I'm focus on Arkansas. Arkansas is ranked I don't know the exact rank, but it has. Here, I just lost it.
Yeah, I think you're not correct about this. I mean, before you go on here, there's news from 4029tv.com. Arkansas allows opening of dine-in restaurants today with restrictions. This was May 11th, so it was a month ago that they started to allow some people to have dine-in in their restaurants, which means that they did have them restricted heavily, and they had them restricted after May 11th to some extent. I wish that were true. And if somebody was in a state, so far no one has identified which state, because I know that Idaho had some restrictions, because we have a girl who's in our chat room who's from Idaho, and she had said that they were having some restrictions there. Now, but there have been some states, like you're saying, that weren't as restricted, for instance, by not having a lockdown, and I think that's probably true.
So let's even go with that. With Idaho, they're right next to each other. Idaho had 5 deaths per 100,000. Arkansas had 5 deaths. These are deaths, has nothing to do with testing. 5 deaths per 100,000. So did Arkansas. All your states that had the most restrictive lockdowns, they're all up in the 60s, 70s, all the way up to New York at 150. So it just kind of seems to me like they're destroying their economies and not really reaping any rewards from the lockdown.
Yeah.
Well, you're right about that part, yeah.
Absolutely, it's wanton destruction. I think it's intentional destruction.
What disturbs me
destruction in order to redistribute to the corporations.
Yeah, and that's what's disturbing to me. The most disturbing part is that not only did the government go, okay, we're going to do this for something that they had no idea, what the results were going to be. Not only did they do, everybody went along with it. It's the everybody going along with it part that disturbs me the most. Everybody went along with it. There were a few voices who were like, hey, we can't do this. No, let's not do this. But outside of that, everybody just went, okay, let's do it.
What the most pathetic part of it was the $1,200, and people being so grateful for the $1,200 when with their $1,200 they got $8,000 in debt from the corporate handouts. That's, oh my God! I'm looking at these people thinking, are you innumerate? Do you not know what's going on? You're getting hustled.
Yeah. Any other thoughts, Jason?
One last thing. New Hampshire, 21 out of 100,000.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, New Hampshire was highly restricted compared to some of these other states.
I would not necessarily say that because, I have completely ignored everything they said. I have had absolutely
We're talking
no
about business
time.
owners, okay? We have not been restricted individually. They have not cracked down on the individual.
But there are a lot of places in America where physical force and arrest has been used
New
against
Hampshire
people
isn't the worst.
for doing things that
I didn't say we were the
here.
worst. I didn't say New Hampshire was the worst. I said it was not a good one, though. Lots of restrictions applied to business owners.
Probably on the freer end of the scale. I'd like
Disagree.
Eventually we'll see a nationwide survey where somebody will study that, I hope.
Did the lockdowns and the restrictions actually accomplish anything? 855-450.
Economic downturn.
More coming up. This is Free Talk Live.
When
I adopted her, she was a mess. Scabs, itching, licking, missing fur, hot spots. So I get the Dinovite.
DINOVITE.com.
And the Lico Chops. Within a 4-week total, Sheba is 105 lean pounds of shiny, smooth, happy dog, and she loves it.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
Dinovite for life.
DINOVITE.com.
The next generation wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to send, earn, spend, and exchange digital money in seconds. Send money around the globe with only a swipe. Instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat right in the mobile app and withdraw directly to your bank account. Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with crypto. Multi-tiered masternodes allow everyone to partake in the network. Visit DivvyProject.org. DivvyProject.org.
Got shaving irritation? Shave Secret Shaving Oil can help stop it. Shave Secret doesn't cost much and is an all-American product. My name is Chuck Howard, and I developed Shave Secret and pioneered its use starting back in 1991. Ingrown hairs drove me nuts for years. Shaving oil changed all that. Why put up with ingrown hair, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts? Shave Secret provides men and women with what we believe is the best shave ever. Our proprietary blend of 100% natural base and essential oils, plus a hint of menthol, was designed to help eliminate shaving irritations like ingrown hairs, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts. We'll lose those shaving irritations. Available at Super Walmart, H-E-B, Wegmans, Giant Eagle, Discount Drug, Navy and Marine Exchanges, Amazon, and ShaveSecret.com. Use the code FTL for Free Talk Live and get a discount. Shave Secret, the best shave ever.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. The Kickass edition. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733, he says with enthusiasm. If you would like to call and talk about whatever you would like, or you want to comment on any of the stuff we've been talking about this evening or any other evening, please feel free to do so. With you in the studio tonight, it's myself, the Reverend Captain Kickass.
It's Ian.
And nobody.
And we are here talking about, well, most recently, we were focusing on the police. And I just want to switch articles real quick because this came out of the Minneapolis Star-Tribune. So this is Minneapolis's own city paper. It's their largest news paper that they have.
The establishment paper.
The establishment
Were we not
paper.
going to get to the other points about the police and like why they lie?
Well, I mean, I think we covered most of that. They lie because they're trained to.
Well, I thought you were curious to hear what their claims were going to be because...
well, I posted the article in the thing, so if folks are on our Twitter, for example, they can find us at, what's our Twitter?
Twitter.com/Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live? Okay.
At Free Talk Live.
At Free Talk Live.
Well, I had wanted to comment on that story.
Oh, okay.
Then let's comment on that story.
Well, I didn't know what the bullet. Could you just give me like the bullet points of what they were going to claim about why they lied? There was the first point was to
So the first point was self-preservation. The second one was to justify an action.
To justify whatever illegal thing that they did.
Right.
And that was pretty much it.
And then it goes into what perpetuates it. They're often not held accountable.
That was what I was going to say, was why do they lie? Because they can get away with it, and they know they can get away with it because they see all their buddies lying and getting away with it, and it's just part of the game. They can do whatever they want, and they know their friends in the department and the thin blue line will back them on it.
And
because they've all got dirt on each other.
And the investigation process tends to favor officers, so much so that we have a joke in our circles about, they're just going to investigate themselves and find out they didn't do anything wrong anyway.
It happens almost every time.
What's the best place to hide after a murder?
In plain sight or in a police department?
Behind a badge.
There you go.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's all I had to say was that's the reason they do it, because there's no punishment for them.
Well, right. Discipline is often minimal. Even when discipline is imposed, it often isn't meaningful.
And that's what's going to happen.
And they get into, this article gets into Derek Chauvin and the Minneapolis Police Department, which is why I had the companion piece from the Star Tribune.
Right, and that's what's going to happen here. Now, Minneapolis, their city council has been toying with the idea of so-called disbanding the police department. And that, on its face, sounds like it is potentially very interesting. Yep. I'm curious to see which direction they go with it, as far as if it actually happens, and if it is disbanded, then what do they create in its place? I think that's what they're talking about right now. I wouldn't expect anything great, because it's going to be some sort of government one-size-fits-all so-called solution that we're going to supposed to be, they're going to tell us is going to make some kind of a difference.
Whatever their solution is going to be worse. And we'll talk more about that in just a second, but I wanted to tell you about Freedom's Phoenix. Freedom's Phoenix is a liberty-oriented news aggregation site. Do you want the newest and freshest stories and perspective on current events from those who value liberty? FreedomsPhoenix.com has it. Their daily dispatch is the best way to stay up to date on science, technology, historical findings, liberty news, government overspending, and the rise of the police state. Freedoms with an S, Phoenix.com. That's FreedomsPhoenix.com. So, speaking of police state, this article from the Star Tribune, Minneapolis's own establishment paper, Minneapolis's 3rd precinct served as, quote, playground, unquote, for renegade cops. So the 3rd precinct, for our listeners who don't know, is the one that was burned down in the riots.
It was burned. I don't know if it was burned down.
Well, it was on fire.
It was on fire for some number of hours in at least one location.
Long before former officer Derek Chauvin knelt on George Floyd's neck, the 3rd Precinct in South Minneapolis had a reputation for being home to police officers who played by their own rules. One officer kicked a handcuffed suspect in the face, leaving his jaw in pieces. Officers beat and pistol whipped a suspect in a parking lot on suspicion of low-level drug charges. Others harassed residents of a South Minneapolis housing project as they headed to work and allowed prostitution suspects to touch their genitals for several minutes before arresting them in vice stings.
See, the thing is, they're going to make it sound like this is just this is this one errant department.
Yeah, this rogue precinct. No, it's not.
This was the precinct with the bad apples. They got attracted to this one precinct, and all the rest of the Minneapolis Police Department, they're really on the ball there. But
I'll tell you what, if as many people were killed by actual bad apples as get killed by cops every year, there would be a congressional investigation
Against
of
apples.
the apple industry.
Yeah, bad apples. Cops give bad apples a bad name.
Right.
Well, the thing is, and it doesn't even make sense to say it's just a few bad apples, because the saying is a few bad apples spoil the bunch.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about.
And while we're on the topic, if this officer in this precinct, an officer kicked a handcuffed suspect in the face, leaving his jaw in pieces, officers beat and pistol whipped
I bet he got a pension,
pistol whipped a suspect in a parking lot, and others harassed residents of a housing project and allowed prostitution. Where were the so-called good cops when these things were going down? Where were they? Why weren't they arresting these other cops?
Because they were riding their unicorns.
They were hanging out with Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny, having a cocktail. Yeah. These and more substantiated incidents detailed in court records.
I mean, what happens is decent people get that job, sure. But what would you do if you realize, being a decent person, if you found yourself working in that culture? You know, I would quit.
Oh,
same thing I did when I found myself working in the culture of the banks and said, oh, I don't want any part of these people.
I would like to think that I wouldn't apply for this type of a job in the first place, but that would be a misnomer. I know myself well enough to know there was a time in my life not too long ago in the past where I was under the spell of statism. I lived in the fog of it. And to say that I wouldn't would probably be a misnomer. I would hope that being a decent person, I would quit. I would find a way out before I did something else like, commit suicide or something, because this job is heinous.
Well, you could also be a decent person who got into policing for the right reasons, and you wanted to go after the bad guys, right?
Sure.
There's those people do exist, but then you found out that the bad guys are actually inside the department with you,
right?
And that they are high ranking as well. So they're not just the the other low life single private. What's the lowest level? Officer, I guess. They're not just the regular officers. They're the executives. They're the captains. They're the lieutenants. They're the chiefs.
The captains.
These people. And you find that out, and you're like, well, I don't have a problem taking down one guy, but I can't take down this entire department. They're going to kill me if I out them for what they did.
Do a few apples spoil the bunch? 855-450 free. Give us your calls and your thoughts about the police and the state of what's going on in the United States.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
This COVID-19 thing has turned the world upside down. Regardless of what you believe about it, it has changed our lives. But what's not changed is that if you own a business, you need to advertise to reach new customers or clients. Our audience is not the kind to stick their heads in the sand during a crisis. They are fully engaged and more active than ever. Special advertising packages are available to you to help you not just recover, but thrive. Email my sales manager, Matthew at freetalklive.com.
Does this ever happen to you? Moments after you're introduced to someone, you forget his or her name. It's a common faux pas you'll want to avoid, especially if you're a job seeker. And even if you're not, here's a tip. As you are being introduced, and while you're still shaking hands, smiling, and making eye contact, say the person's name aloud. Not only does that make a deposit in your memory bank, it acknowledges the other person. And that is more than a nuance, as is maintaining eye contact. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more more important. Cutting through the clutter rather than blending into the blah, blah, blah will help you connect better no matter what the conversation. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up in any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live.
I look up on internet and tried to research some stuff that everybody's been talking about. And, you know, It's all true.
What?
It's true.
What is?
Everything that's going on in this country.
The heck are you talking
Everything that you're talking about, I'm talking about 9/11.
We don't talk about that.
Everything.
Yeah, you're being incredibly vague.
I know what's going on. I mean, people get in an airplane and they talk about, well, they were talking on this plane and they were doing this from that to this and that.
I have no idea what you're
Cell
talking
phones didn't work back then.
What is this and that? You need to be a lot less vague because I don't know what you're talking about.
Everything, Dale. Everything is true.
Everything is true. Okay, that's going on in this country.
Yes, what I'm trying to tell. Everything is true, but they will not listen.
Everything.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. The live.
That wasn't me.
Monday night edition. 855-450-FREE is our toll-free number here.
Don't look at me. I didn't do it.
I'm just continuing the tradition here.
I think he's looking at you because he did it.
No, it was you.
No, it was actually you. Yeah, it's true. You're like, yeah, when I unmuted, you were sort of half yawning still, which is fine.
He still doesn't even know what we're talking about.
I know, which is great. We're talking about nobody, and nobody didn't even notice.
Yeah.
Nobody didn't. Yeah. Anyway, 855-450.
Nobody knows what the hell you're talking.
Nobody's
about.
oblivious.
Nobody is oblivious. 855-450-3733 is our toll-free number. That's 855-450-FREE. If you would like to take control of the airwaves and talk about, well, whatever you would like. With you in the studio tonight, it's myself, the captain.
And Ian.
And nobody.
And we've been talking about the Minneapolis 3rd Precinct and how it served as a playground for renegade cops. Now, this story, Ian correctly pointed out, is sort of, it seems like they're trying to demonize just this one precinct and say, oh, this was the bad one where all the bad stuff happened. All the other precincts were good and fine and upstanding, but this precinct is where all the bad apples were, so to speak. So these and more substantiated incidents detailed in court records and police reports help explain a saying often used by fellow cops to describe the style of policing practiced in the 3rd. There's the way the Minneapolis Police Department does things, and then there's a way they do it in threes, quote unquote, on the in threes. So, as you predicted, this is exactly what this article is doing.
And the other thing is, they have a huge media machine working to present a false image of honesty. Like, my mom likes this, and I frankly I like the show too. There's Blue Bloods. It's about
cop show.
Cops. Yeah, it's a cop show. It's a good drama. It's a lot of drama takes place around crime and war. And but it paints this picture of these selfless cops charging into danger. And I mean, we don't have mysteries in America. We have cop porn.
Oh, yes, we do. And in fact, many TV shows find themselves morphing into cop shows. I've seen this a number of times on science fiction shows, particularly low-budget ones, where they'll start off with a premise, and maybe the premise is interesting, and then as time goes on, it morphs into a cop show.
Oh,
usually around the third season, sometimes as early as the second.
That's one of the options that you have when you run out of ideas. And, that's...
Continuum was a sci-fi TV show that did that, right? There was this premise where, like, it was kind of like Terminator. Somebody, got sent back from the future to the past to try and, change whatever was going to happen. And then they end up working as a police officer in a police department in a major metropolitan city, paired up with like a regular policeman, and then all the usual police stuff, police porn, if you will, where it's all, the police are always good and righteous and selfless, which is not true.
No, I mean, nobody who's actually interacted with them can make that mistake.
Yeah. So between 2007 and 2017, the city paid out $2.1 million to settle misconduct lawsuits involving third precinct officers. Judges have thrown out cases for outrageous conduct of officers, and prosecutors have been forced to drop charges for searches found to be illegal according to court records. I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say that you could probably run these statistics for any police precinct in any major metropolitan area, and they would be somewhat of the same level of shocking.
I would love to do some statistical analysis of the data on cops and police brutality. The first thing that I would want to find out is there a positive correlation between brutality complaints, promotion, and pay? Do they make more money when they're more brutal?
Yeah, I imagine they would have to.
I suspect that's what they would find.
We agree.
Yeah.
The brand of aggressive policing on display in the Floyd video has long been standard practice for some third precinct officers when dealing with suspects of nonviolent, low-level crimes, often involving people of color, said Abigail Sierra, a commissioner for Minneapolis Police Conduct Oversight Commission. Oh, a police officer who investigates the police. Didn't they call it internal affairs, according to television?
Well, their oversight commission may or may not be.
They call it Mr. Magoo.
There may be some independence on that commission. You don't know if that's an officer. That may be somebody who's been appointed.
Okay. My clients were constantly getting anal searches, said Sarah.
Wow.
Who also has been a public defender, not at the hospital, at the third precinct.
That's crazy.
So imagine being violated in such a way by police in their domain.
Yeah, wow.
Wrecked him, hell, damn near killed him.
That's pretty shocking.
Chauvin and the other 3 officers who assisted in Floyd's arrest, all of whom worked at the third precinct, have been fired and now face criminal charges. We'll see about that. That they say that with such finality here in this article.
If they've been fired, that doesn't mean that they're blackballed from policing.
Right.
It doesn't mean that they can't get a job at another police department next door or across the state or in another
county
state.
Over or whatever it is.
Yeah. Even a felony conviction doesn't always stop them from continuing to work as cops.
And they only face criminal charges.
Right.
Currently.
They're not convicted.
Yeah.
Still waiting on that.
That has not satisfied protesters who continue to call for more action from city officials, ranging from drastically overhauling to dismantling the police force.
The bloody well right.
And they are talking about dismantling the police force with apparently a majority, veto-proof majority of the Minneapolis City Council. So it's hard to get your hopes up about that actually meaning something, but it is an interesting development, and we will certainly keep an eye on it.
See, I would love to see some section of some city basically franchise law enforcement to the Black Panthers. Let them have an area where they're basically just a militia. and they're a militia for a population that is badly served by the police. So why not let them do it?
Public Defender Jordan Deckenbach said the Floyd footage, quote, is 100% consistent with the hours and hours and hours of body camera footage I've watched over the years. What I want to know is, where's all this footage? Where's all this footage, and why is it not public domain? Why is cop body cam footage not public domain? We can talk more about this topic.
There is one reasonable answer to that, which is a lot of people's private non-criminal business goes on those tapes other than the cops. But still...
It's been recorded. It's no longer private.
Yeah. And the cop already intruded in it.
Indeed. Let's go to your calls and your thoughts. We've got Vernon calling from New Orleans, Louisiana. He's listening online. Vernon, you're on Free Talk Live.
Are you all happy that the Minneapolis Police Department's getting disbanded?
I don't know if that vote has happened yet, has it?
It's got a veto-proof majority, so I would say it's pretty much going to happen.
Okay, but we don't know what that's going to look like.
I'm happy that people are thinking along those lines. I think that what they're going to get is very different than what they think they're going to get. But, I would, like I said, I would love to see them try something different, because having one group of people answerable only to themselves has not worked out well.
It usually doesn't.
So what do you think would satisfy the protesters then if that doesn't? And the three officers have been charged.
Well,
what do you think?
Vernon, hold the line. We'll bring you back after this. We want to hear what you have to say. 855-450, free like freedom. This is Free Talk Live. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Dr. Joel Wallach, the Mineral Doctor. You've heard me talk about 90 for Life for years. 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, 2 fatty acids. You may not know this, that I've actually designed Arthrodex for animals. That's right. Your pets need 90 for Life, too. Get this essential pet product by calling 877-279-9422. That's 877-279-9422. Again, 877-279-9422.
Stop aging now. Restore those joints. Boost your strength. Because it's official. NutriMedical has released the most exciting, powerful anti-aging supplement on the market. Dr. Bill Deagle's Red Deer Velvet DR has been approved by the U.S. Patent Office. Imagine stem cell rejuvenation all in one capsule without huge expense. Dr. Bill MD discovered that as an unborn baby grows in the mother's womb, he or she does not deteriorate or physically age. Red Deer Velvet DR, like the uterus, provides 300 biomolecules and 6 hormones protected in one special DR capsule that delivers lipid packages directly into your circulation. This patented technology bypasses the stomach and is released into the small bowel unaltered by digestive enzymes and stomach acid. Remember, Red Deer Velvet DR. Improve endurance, stimulate your immune system, increase learning ability, and even improve sexual libido with Red Deer Velvet DR. Click NutriMedical.com, that's N-U-T-R-I medical.com, or call toll-free 888-212-8871 and get on the road to a newer, rejuvenated, happier you.
Houseflies defecate every 4 to 5 minutes, spreading diseases and germs. Protect your food and your health with Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic, no batteries required. Only $39.95. Use discount code GCN and get an extra 10% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Fire your fly swatter. Get your Bug Assault today.
The political world is a maddening cesspool of corruption and lies. Nobody tells the truth. Nobody keeps campaign promises. Nobody obeys the Constitution. Nobody puts the people first. How can we ever escape this web of tyranny? Vote for nobody.
Hi, my name is Nobody. I'm running for governor of New Hampshire because nobody knows how to live your life better than you do, and nobody deserves that kind of power. I want to put you back in control of your money, your lifestyle, your work, your body, and your life. Nobody should rule you but you. New Hampshire convicts many people of so-called crimes that should never have been prosecuted. If elected, I will pardon every victimless crime in New Hampshire history. This includes drug, gambling, prostitution, gun, and driving offenses. Nobody should have a criminal record when they have not harmed anybody.
Wouldn't it be nice to have nobody telling you what to do? Learn more at electnobody.com. electnobody.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Welcome back to the final segment of Free Talk Live. We might be able to squeeze you in. 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733 is our toll-free number. We are here 7 days a week doing this between 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern Time every day, 365 days a year. There's maybe an occasional show that happens that might not be live, but only because like the hosts are attending a seminar, which of course these things haven't happened, so it's been a long time since something like that went down. But
well, in 2 weeks, we're going to not be live for 2 weeks straight because we're going to be at ForkFest.
ForkFest 2020, coming up.
Yep.
At the Rogers Campground.
We'll be live in
person.
person.
We'll be live for some people.
Yeah, we'll be live in reality. If you're at ForkFest, you'll be able to come and see and maybe sit in on the show if you got something to say.
Forkfest.party.
Yeah. And even Forkfest is going to be smaller than usual this.
You think?
I think it will. I don't know. Maybe not.
I'm hoping the opposite because it's the only thing that's happening.
Actually, I think Forkfest will probably be bigger than it was last year.
I don't know.
I don't think Porkfest will be as big.
From what I hear, the Porcupine Freedom Festival is already up to 500 tickets sold, which I would say is pretty good for COVID year. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Absolutely.
I don't know what to expect.
But I don't know. If I wanted to go fanboy on Tom Woods and really get to know him, this is probably the week I'd pick.
Is he going to be there?
I think he is, yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, before we went to our break, we were speaking with Vernon in New Orleans. And Vernon, you're back on the air live, and you mentioned a very interesting question that I wanted to be able to respond to here
I've got an answer
with us at
for
the host.
you,
Can you go ahead and repeat your question?
Yeah, what is it going to take with the officers being charged, 3 of them, in fact, with the Minneapolis Police Department being disbanded? What is it going to take for the protesters to be satisfied?
That's a great question.
And I know we can say no government, the police, no police, all this idealistic stuff, but I'm talking about realistic.
I'm talking about realistically, if you got an occupying army shooting you down like dogs in the street, stealing your stuff, putting their fingers where they don't belong in your body, then what you should be doing is you should be throwing that occupying army off. Okay.
I know, but do you all have any other answers besides no government, no police?
Yes, I've got answers. The militia is the answer, you know? And in some places, the militia is the Black Panthers. And in other places, the militia is a more traditional militia. And in other places, the militia is
regular people.
You know, whatever group of people wants to be the militia
okay, but are you talking
area.
about vigilante justice, nobody, where there's no trial, there's no evidence presented, there's no presumption of innocence?
Well, I mean, some places
Are you trying to say that
would
the National
doubtless
Guard
be
should take over the
like
police?
that, but other places would not. I think not everybody's going to anarchy the same way, and people are going to some people are going to deal with it more successfully than others.
Nobody. He asked you a question. Are you trying to say that you think the National Guard should take over for the police?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Well, that's our militia, isn't it?
No, absolutely not. Those are government troops. Those are the people who fight the militia when the government gets out of hand. They're
Okay.
the people
Does anyone
who
else
shoot
have
the
any other
militia.
answers besides
They are
no
defending
government?
the powers that be against the people.
Well, I don't know, like systemically, if you're looking for a solution within the system. No, I don't have
The
one because I don't
solution is
believe
to
I don't believe that a solution exists within the existing system. That being said, if you look at what it took just for these cops to get arrested, much less charged and fired, it took riots to make that happen. So what would satisfy the protesters, of course, is for anything like this to never happen again, I think, is what would satisfy the protesters.
Well, if you go and you watch interviews with the protesters, at least I watched some of them last week as they were happening live on the Unicorn Riot channel, which is sort of a commie live stream channel. They were saying they want justice. Overall, that's what they want. They want to see these particular officers punished, and I don't think many of them had really thought further beyond that at that point in time. Now, at this point in time, many of them may have come to further conclusions, like they want to see some sort of meaningful police reform. But if what you're asking, caller, is for what we think could be done within the system, I can give you a couple of ideas. Is that what you're looking for?
Sure, just something that might happen in the short term.
Well, this isn't going to happen. This is what could happen if you wanted meaningful reform. So there's not going to be anyone in politics who's going to propose this, but I'll give you something that they could propose within the system. They could propose to end the war on drugs.
Nobody will propose that.
They could propose that, and that would go a long, long way towards ending police abuse of disproportionately black and minority people, as well as plenty of poor whites as well. So it would go a long way towards stopping that. And now
that's a very good point. I agree with you. I think that would be a very good concession for them to make.
So that's one thing that they could do.
The answer that I came up with when I was on break was, when a police officer who kills a civilian is prosecuted with equal fervor as a civilian who kills a police officer, you know, when justice becomes equal and donkeys fly.
Well, that's the other point. No, so point number two. So we know there's not going to be a single politician proposing to end the war on drugs. That would be the most humane thing that they could do.
Nobody's proposing that.
It would be the most sensible thing to do. But there's also another thing that someone actually has proposed, which is Justin Amash, who is apparently now a libertarian in the... No, apparently he changed his party to Libertarian.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and so anyway, he has proposed a bill that will supposedly end qualified immunity, and that is the special provision that
freaking time
government bureaucrats, specifically the police, receive that protects them from any kind of liability for their actions. So there's two major things they could do.
I have one more thing, and everybody, almost to a person that I've ever talked to, I don't care what your political affiliation is, what your level of education is, unless you're in like grade school or something, but they all believe, and probably rightly so, that the police are a very tightly knit organization across state lines, across the entire country. If that is true, the police could certainly take it upon themselves to no longer enforce any victimless crime.
Yeah, they could.
Without anybody having to do anything, they could just communicate with themselves.
We're done with
Hey,
this.
you know what? We're only going to enforce crimes where somebody or somebody's property has been harmed or damaged in some way. No more enforcing of victimless crimes. I think that would be a great start.
Yeah, they could do that.
Hey, thank you all for the well-thought-out answers. I appreciate
Thanks,
it.
man.
Thanks for holding over, Vernon. We appreciate the call.
Yeah, and they could do that, but instead, what they did here in Keene, New Hampshire, at the massive rally they had here in downtown Keene last week with, I think, as many as 700 people, according to some counts.
Right.
It was huge. There were a lot of people there, but there were 3 officers who were in the midst of all of this, taking pictures with people, and, it was a photo op for these guys. They had signs that said, "We hear you." But that didn't say, "We're going to change."
Didn't say we're listening.
Didn't say we're listening. Didn't say we're going to do anything differently. And then you've got Nashua's mayor read a proclamation in front of the Nashua event that we went to on Saturday.
We will write a very stern letter.
That's what it is. A proclamation is just them saying, "We, the city of Nashua, we believe that blah, 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 blah,
right.
blah." And
what if you live in Nashua and you don't believe that, though?
Well, you're not part of the
Whatever
city.
it is they believe.
You're not the city.
Oh, okay.
So there you go. There's more placating and more just playing to the crowd.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
I really wish everybody acts like, it's not the police's fault. It's a few people. If the police would just take some responsibility for their own department's actions and act accordingly, it would go a really long way for everybody to no longer be angry at all of the police.
And what would go a long way towards that would be requiring police to carry liability insurance, so that if they develop a bad record, their insurance company can raise their rates. If you're getting a lot of brutality complaints, you're a higher risk.
That's another good solution or suggestion.
Yeah.
Indeed it is. Unfortunately, we are out of time tonight. Thanks for all of your calls. If you missed any portion of the show, you can find us at freetalklive.com. You can get Nobody at
electnobody.com.
And you can find more at about the captain at Captain Kickass. I'm sorry. It's lcaptainkickass.com. Thank you. Good night, everybody. This has been Free Talk Live.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had got involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream for people to use it for everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that is as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you receive the rewards. Download the